Truthseekers is a viewer-supported show. Wonderful people like you who enjoy this show send pledges in the form of super chats, super stickers, super thanks, PayPal, or Cash App. Instructions for how to help are in the description. You can also join our Patreon, and for as little as $1 a month you can get extra content. Patreon supporters get a backstage pass, early access to all our production videos before they are distributed publicly, Stephen Campion's music, private writings, a monthly show journal, and more. You can also become a YouTube channel member for $5 a month. A YouTube membership includes all of the Patreon benefits, plus a special members badge, priority reply to video comments, and the live chat, plus a monthly members-only video. We thank you all, kind and generous benefactors, for supporting Truthseekers. Thank you for your generosity and support. Thanks for being here. This is Truthseekers with your host, Stephen Campion. Please rate, like, and comment on our videos or podcasts. If you are listening to an audio podcast, please rate us 5 stars to help us rise in the search rankings. If you are watching on YouTube, please like, comment, and subscribe to our channel. If you're listening to an audio podcast, we love and appreciate you listeners, but you are missing the live tapings. All our shows are recorded live with video feed. We'd love you to come be a part of our live broadcasts and tapings for the podcast. Head on over to YouTube, click the search tool, the little magnifying glass, put Truthseekers, one word in the search bar, and hit enter. You'll see a strange and mysterious guy with sunglasses. That means you found the channel. Go there, smash the subscribe button, and hit the notification bell to receive up-to-date info on our YouTube channel. We welcome you to be a part of our live taping and our chat group during the live broadcasts. Seek the truth. Speak the truth. This is Truthseekers. Truthseekers.
Greetings and salutations, friends, and welcome back. So tonight we are going to be taking a journey into something that I have called UFO Grifter Whack-A-Mole. And for those who are unaware, it would appear that we are constantly playing a game here called UFO Grifter Whack-A-Mole. And this gets incredibly frustrating because it would appear that even when you catch a UFO grifter scamming the public with a 100% provably 100% fake story, it's like whack-a-mole. You can whack them down, but they pop right back up, right? We've also discussed this thing that we call the Cosmic Con Shuffle. If you're a UFO grifter and you get caught selling 100% provably fake story, you got to do the Cosmic Con Shuffle. You got to shuffle away, right? And then hopefully everybody forgets that you just got caught selling a 100% provably fake story. And then you just shuffle back with new fake stories. This I have seen time and time again. And I've got to be honest, this game of whack-a-mole, which includes the Cosmic Con Shuffle, they do the Cosmic Con Shuffle, then they Cosmic Con Shuffle back in and pop back up, and I'm supposed to whack-a-mole them again. In any other genre of anything, if you get caught selling a 100% provably fake story, you're done. You're finished. Your so-called career is over. But what we have to remember, and I don't care, this is my opinion and I'm going to say it. What we have to remember is a lot of these people are literally criminals. Selling fake stories for money is a crime. It is fraud, right? So, even though every other, like, I'm trying to think of examples. What, for example, if you covered political stuff and you got caught selling 100% fake story about something in the political world, your career would be over. You're done. Get out of here. You can't just come back with new fake stories about politics. And I'm sure a lot of that does happen, but not to the extent that it happens here. And I, for one, am getting sick of this UFO whack-a-mole game, right? We have been playing this whack-a-mole game for far too long now. We whack them and they pop right back up, right? And we're going to go through some specific examples of where we've whacked the UFO grifter and they've popped right back up. And we should also be sure to recognize that this game never ends, right? You have to always be sure to remember that these UFO grifters don't have jobs, right? You go to work every day. I go to work every day. They sell garbage. That's what they do for a living. They sell fake nonsense. So when they get caught, it's not like they're going to go, yeah, well, it was a good run. I made tens of thousands or hundreds of thousands, in some cases, millions of dollars selling fake and in some cases, provably fake stories. It's not like, they wake up after being caught that first time, after getting that first whack and say, you know what? I got caught selling fake stories. I'm a fraud. I'm just going to go get a real job and stop scamming people. No, none of them do that, because this is the grift, and the grift must go on. Get caught selling fake pictures of aliens from a video game cover? Just shuffle off and shuffle back in and start interviewing Nazis, right? Get caught claiming that you have, quote, conclusive proof of alien technology, all confirmed by this man, and do a deceptive cut right to Michio Kaku? Just shuffle off and then shuffle back with new fake stories. The grift always goes on. So apparently, whacking the UFO grifters, popping their delusion bubbles and the delusion bubbles of their stupid people that believe them when they're selling these stories as, quote, true stories, it doesn't do anything. All it does is stop them for a very, very short period of time. They go off, they figure out new fake stories to sell, and they are back on the grift. And this is where we find ourselves right now, with a whole host of people that we've already done the whack to. We've already whacked these moles, but they're all back, and they're all here with new and fantastical fairy tales about aliens or UFOs or whatever. Secret insider, whistleblower, bull nonsense, garbage, fake garbage. It's garbage. And these garbage peddlers do not stop. You can't stop them by catching them once. You can't stop them by catching them 5 times. And in no other area of any interest is this acceptable. At no other area of any interest is this permissible. But here, it just keeps happening. Why, after someone has been caught selling provably fake, quote, true, unquote, stories, are they back with new fake stories? Are they permitted to work at UFO conferences? What a laughable, delusional bunch of stupid people all of us must be. Because it's not the grifters that are to blame for this. It's all of us. Stupid people that still click on their videos, that still buy their garbage behind a paywall because this time maybe they're telling the truth. It's not solely, the problem is not solely the fault of these UFO grifters that we're constantly playing whack-a-mole on. It's the problem is the public. The problem largely is the so-called UFO community, right? Who can see the overwhelming evidence, the overwhelming proof that a certain UFO personality or UFO celebrity, as I like to call them, hey, I'm a celebrity, but only among a bunch of UFO dorks on the internet, right? And what a tiny, tiny subculture this is. Calling them a UFO celebrity is funny to me. But whatever, people see the overwhelming evidence that some of these people get caught dead to rights selling 100% provably fake stories multiple times, and yet they're still making money selling autographs at idiot UFO conventions for $120. Yeah, that's right. So we are going to go through our specific examples here of this nonsense. I forgot to tweet out. I need the graphic. Just one moment. We will add this to our presentation tonight. So we have a presentation tonight about UFO whack-a-mole. For those just joining us, that is the game we play where we whack down these fraud-selling garbage peddler people that are selling provably fake stories, and then they pop right back up. And many of them continue to pop back up. It's like the walking dead of UFO grifters out there. No matter how many times you whack them, they come back. And they are ready for another round completely ready with 100% new, completely fake stories to sell. And people will still buy it. And I think a lot of that is because the overwhelming hunger, the overwhelming desire for these fake stories to be true is so incredibly overwhelming with some people that they just ignore the part where many of these people have been caught selling provably fake stories, or let's just say in some cases, playing very fast and loose with the facts and conveniently cobbling together so-called true stories, which may indeed not be anywhere near the actual truth. But hey, don't let things like facts and evidence get in the way of a good story that you could sell to stupid people. So we begin our journey tonight. Here are some of the people that I have personally myself played UFO grifter whack-a-mole with, right? And each of these people have been whacked down with an overwhelming amount of things like facts, evidence, science, right? Their claims completely destroyed in some cases. And are any of these people in our rogues gallery of grifters gone from the scene after being caught red-handed on the take selling completely provable fake stories? No, they're all still here. And some of them are making more money than any of you stupid people who are working real jobs, right? And it would appear, like I said, the grift just goes on. Don't worry about the last fake stories that I got caught selling. These new stories are even better stories, and these ones are true. Yeah. And if you believe that, I've got some oceanfront property in Arizona to sell you. And if you believe that, I've got some bridges, right, to sell you as well. So the grift goes on. The whack-a-mole game continues. And I'm not complaining. However, many of you will send me messages. Oh, look what they're saying now. You got to get them, Stephen. Get them. Like as if the focal point of my life should be to play UFO grifter whack-a-mole, right? And in the cases of the the Grift Squad, the rogues gallery of grifters that we have to share with you tonight, I've already done this. We've already been here, in some cases several times, with some of these people, right? And what do I get for my time, right? What do I get for my energy for actually revealing the truth? You know what I get? Largely, and we've talked about this issue before, I get demonetized. My videos covering the scams that people are running get demonetized on YouTube. So if you want to sell 100% provably fake stories on YouTube to the tune of tens of thousands of dollars of YouTube ad revenue, you're allowed to do that. If, however, you take a more critically minded approach and you actually research the claims of the Grift Squad and reveal that they're selling, in many cases, 100% provably fake stories, your videos will get demonetized in many cases. I've shown examples of this. David Wilcock is allowed to go on a public internet stream on YouTube and tell people that the Archangel Michael is telling him to take baths in his own piss. And when he did that, he got telekinetic superpowers. But I do a video talking about the ridiculousness of that, demonetized. It really does seem to be, it's starting to get to me to the point where, and again, I'm trying not to be too conspiratorially minded on that specific issue, but it does appear that somebody's thumb is on the goddamn scale. Whose thumb is on that scale? Is it simply that these fake stories generate, in some cases, millions of views and therefore millions of ad placements, and therefore some perhaps corporate entity has their thumb on that scale and they don't care about the truth? They don't care how slimy it is to sell provably fake stories to stupid people. They have their thumb on that scale. Someone has their thumb on the scale of the grifters. And Lady Justice is not blind here. Lady Justice, at least when it comes to justice and fair play, when it comes to this situation I find myself in, somebody's got their thumb on the scale. It's as if Lady Justice is looking down, and when nobody's looking, push the grifters, push the grifters, push those grifters. It's good for business. Or could it also be that some three-letter agency is actively encouraging some of these grifters who are selling stories that some three-letter agency wants spoon-fed to the public, even if the stories are 100% provably fake? And I have been noticing this for quite some time. Again, I'm not trying to get too conspiratorial, but someone should explain to me, why is the scale tipped in the favor of scammers? Why can't somebody that actually has proof and evidence and valid research, why can't somebody like that actually show they're selling fake stories? So essentially, you can be monetized selling fake stories, but you can't be monetized in many cases revealing the people that are selling the fake stories. It's a big club, and I ain't in it. And this is where we find ourselves. And I have to be quite honest in saying that I don't like feeling like I'm getting screwed here. Or anybody that is critically minded, evidence-based research, has facts and evidence, is getting screwed here. And the grifters are allowed to do what they do, right? And we've been all through the excuses. Some people have said, well, you curse too much, Stephen. Okay. We're not going to curse. We'll take that excuse away from them. We won't curse. What is the next excuse going to be? There's always been some excuse for why many of my videos covering the scams and scammers get demonetized, right? While literally their videos are still 100% filled with ads, monetized out the wazoo. And let's be clear, I'm not one that advocates giving up when things are difficult, right? But at some point you have to say, why do I keep doing this when they're allowed to make money from the scams, but I'm not allowed to make money apparently for exposing the scams? You know, I could go do other things on YouTube, right? There are people opening boxes of toys, getting millions of monetized views, right? And I mentioned people constantly sending me messages, and I know that people mean well, and I don't want to discourage you from messaging me, though as this show has grown, the amount of stuff in my inbox is getting unmanageable. So I would ask that if you have something very important to communicate to me, sure, send me a message. But these constant demands of my time, like, you got to look into this, Stephen. You got to do something about this grifter or that grifter. Did you hear what this grifter is saying now? You should do a show on it. Like, there's only so much of me. And I'm getting penalized on the financial end. And let's also be clear that I don't have any illusions. You know, I know when somebody is selling a provably fake alien story, they can get hundreds of thousands of views. Me exposing that story is fake is not going to get hundreds of thousands of views. However, the views that it does get should be monetized. If their videos selling fake stories are monetized, then why shouldn't my stories exposing the frauds also be monetized? Even if they're not going to get, you know, even if they get 10% of what the grifter video gets, it should be monetized. And by the way, I'm not asking for any advantage here on the scammers. I'm just asking for an equal playing field. Am I crazy, or is it fair that if they can make money selling fake stories, I should be able to make money exposing the fake stories that they sell? And at some point, I'm going to become disgusted enough with this shit that I will risk my channel here to forcefully demand answers from some of the platforms that are allowing this, from some of the platforms that just think this is okay. This is just, you know. Now, I will say that in a few cases, I have sent messages to certain platforms complaining. And interestingly, when I have done that, boop, suddenly they turn the ads on that video, right? So this may be not a people problem. This issue may be an AI problem, right? Maybe the AI is just flagging me with the grifters. But if the AI was flagging me with the grifters, it would turn all my monetization on. So it can't be that, can it? What? I don't even know what it could be. All right, we've spent enough time on this issue. Back to the Grift Squad for tonight. I will put my fair use banner on. And by the way, lawyer letters are standing by. Another thing that the Grift Squad love to do is to falsely copyright claim or copyright strike us for using clips when explaining things or talking about things. But this, of course, is a transformative work, which is covered under fair use. And we're educating the public while we're using these materials from various sources. So this is fair use. Lawyer letters are standing by. We are 100%. Every false claim or copyright strike levied against us, we have won. So if you are attempting to impede my free speech and my ability to educate the public in the spirit of fair use, just know that if you falsely copyright claim or strike me, we have a perfect track record. And the strike, if you post a false strike against someone else's channel, the strike reverts to yours. Just putting that out there, and the lawyer letters are standing by. So we're going to go. I have amassed a bunch of stuff to share with you this evening for tonight's presentation. I also want to take a moment here to welcome in the live chat. We have some great attendees in the live. One second. Let me go and welcome the live chat. We want to welcome our chat room moderators and everybody that is here this evening. We also want to take a moment to welcome everybody watching on our Twitter feed, watching on Rumble, watching on Twitch, and on the Facebook Live feed. We're happy all of you are here. Those of you in the Rumble chat should be aware, and the Twitter feed should be aware that I won't get messages if you send messages, but we'll be visiting those too, just to check for messages and thank you, those who are leaving messages there in those areas. Yeah. Oh, 1 second here. Let me cue what I have to share with you. So the first of our rogue squadron of UFO grifters that we already played whack-a-mole with is Anjali. And recently, John Ramirez says that he takes Anjali seriously because he knows what the government knows. And of course, John Ramirez was interviewed on Jimmy Church, who loves CIA disinformation agents and will happily host them because he's an idiot. Listen, we have covered this situation before. There is a goddamn infiltration of CIA spooks and three-letter agency clowns into the UFO community. It used to be that those guys were off in the shadows feeding disinformation to UFO celebrities, right? They used to feed information to people like Linda Moulton Howe and many others to push into the UFO community. Starting in 2016, the CIA people just said, let's just jump right in there and do it ourselves. And that's what they've been doing. And since 2016, there is a goddamn infiltration of CIA disinformation and misinformation agents and DIA, CIA, Homeland Security, FBI, all the alphabet soup agencies are suddenly invading the UFO community. And I would like to point out that when this started happening in 2016, 2017, with TTSA and CIA Lou and all of that, many prominent UFO people and researchers just jumped right in. Why did they do that? Because they thought they were going to get some money out of that. They were going to get documentary deals or speaking appearances at conferences with those CIA shills. So John Ramirez is just the latest of a multitude of CIA people that are suddenly involved with the UFO community. And John Ramirez, of course, is apparently an alien abductee, and he's running around telling people, what is it, in 2027, that aliens are just going to appear all over the skies of the earth, and there's going to be a huge big D disclosure event, and that's how we're going to find out the aliens are here. And everybody in the government knows about this, according to him, and all manner of fantastical stories with no evidence, no proof. And what is his level of credibility? Well, I work for the CIA. Let me tell you something. The CIA manipulates people. The CIA lies to people. That's their job. Why would we accept goddamn John Ramirez, CIA agent here, telling us anything near the truth? But okay, Jimmy Church hosts him, and he had some interesting things to say about another government invader of the UFO community, and that would be one Anjali, our first rogue or grifter on the game of UFO whack-a-mole tonight. And this is just so ridiculous. The fact that one CIA guy is backing up the claims of another government person, Anjali. Did you know that Anjali worked for the Defense Intelligence Agency, not the CIA, the DIA? I told you, all the alphabet soup agencies are here manipulating people in the UFO world. Why? Your guess is as good as mine, but that's a fact. There are government people, CIA people, DIA people, FBI people, and more involved suddenly in the UFO community since 2016. They're all coming out of the woodwork, directly involved in spreading false and fake information. And I can prove that many of these people have spread false and fake information about aliens, specifically Anjali. And we're going to get into this. But this is what I just can't believe, that one government agent backing up another government agent, and truth be told, I think both of these personalities, these people, are spreading false information. So we've got one government person, a former CIA person, backing up the claims of another government person, Anjali, who studied information warfare. She was an information warfare specialist for the Defense Intelligence Agency. Doesn't that make you a little bit suspicious about all her goddamn alien stories? Because it sure makes me suspicious. And when a CIA shill is saying that other government, that government girl that talked to the aliens in that mountain, Anjali, who studied and was a specialist in information warfare for the Defense Intelligence Agency, she's telling the truth about those aliens, and the government is taking her seriously because they know she's telling the. Oh my God, what are we doing here? What are we doing, friends? And how on God's green earth has no one but me stood up and said, this is a psyop? This is, besides, even if it is a psyop, it's ridiculous. This is absolutely ridiculous. One government shill spreading false and fake alien information is now backing up another government shill spreading false and fake alien and UFO information. Great, but this is where we're at, and this is where we find ourselves in our game of whack-a-mole. And let's be completely and totally clear before we get into this with John Ramirez. Anjali's whole entire original story was completely and totally blown to crap by us and a few other researchers, most notably Charlie Weiser and James A. Conrad. Thank them very much. Because when Anjali came out with her fantastical fairy tales about visiting an alien base inside an alien mountain, we proved that was all fake. There was no tunnel. There wasn't even a tunnel. We found the owner of the property. We interviewed him. He never even began digging. He talked about it. Maybe he'll dig a tunnel, but he was going to literally build a man cave. He was going to dig a tunnel into the mountain, into the back of his house, and he was going to put a bar and a pool table in there and escape from his wife. The ultimate man cave. But he hadn't even begun digging yet when he met Anjali. And she concocted this entire story of going in this alien mountain and going in a tunnel that didn't exist and experiencing Lavi, the purple-blue manted alien, right? And originally, Anjali said, I wasn't on any drugs. Later, we found out she was on all kinds of prescription drugs, including an antidepressant, a sleep aid, an anti-anxiety medicine, and some other shit. God, I cursed. Well, that was only one. We're 37 minutes in. I think we can get that past the YouTube censors. So, and then she was also on some very, very powerful concentrated cannabis oil, Rick Simpson oil. At the time, she had her alien interactions, right? Met multiple species of aliens and all. So the point is that Anjali's entire original story was completely busted as completely and totally fake. Why are we still talking about her? But we are. Well, government people are, and stupid people are willing to listen. Let's get into this with John Ramirez on the king of UFO scammer show, Fade to Bull. That's right. I said it. Jimmy Church is the king of alien scammers and alien fraudsters and alien disinformation agents, right? Jimmy Church never met somebody telling an alien story he didn't believe. If he could make a couple of bucks, he signed them right up for an interview. Congratulations. And by the way, Jimmy Church is also on our rogues list of UFO grifters that we've played whack-a-mole with. Because although Jimmy Church doesn't sell his own fake stories, well, he has in one case, and we can show you that one, that mountain alien base fake story that he sold. He's more like the person who helps sell the garbage stories, right? He's the person who helps sell the garbage, which makes him even worse, in my opinion.
2027.
Yeah.
And maybe you'll get another text tonight after the show, but
I hope not.
Yeah, 2027, according to John Ramirez, former CIA person, the aliens are all going to come down. There's going to be a mass sighting event all over the world, alien spaceships in 2027. What's he going to do in 2027 when none of that happens? And by the way, I kind of hope it happens.
Right. Yeah. And I'll say this much. That year has come up in a classified setting, in a skiff that I was in Washington, D.C.
All right. Now, let's just get into this for a moment. So he's claiming that he is in possession of classified information that was shared in a skiff. For those unaware, that is one of those, government rooms which nothing can get in or out of electronically, right? They're soundproofed and more, so that people can discuss classified projects without worry of espionage. John Ramirez is on a public YouTube live stream with idiot Jimmy Church, who, by the way, has claimed to be in possession of classified information himself in the past, right? And we busted that was completely and totally fake. So John Ramirez, CIA agent, is talking about being in possession of classified information, and he's going to share it on Jimmy Church's radio show, right? Does that sound like legal to you? Because it's not. Does that sound even like plausible? Not to me. Why would a CIA agent in possession of classified information leak classified information on Fade the Bull with Jimmy Scam? Really? Really? Okay, but okay.
I was asked, John, what have you heard about 2027 and this phenomenon? And I go, oh, that's interesting. You know something about 2027. So what I said was, I understand that experiences have been talking about 2026, 2027. And they know that something might be happening. Maybe it's that. And I said, what I hope would happen is that by 2027, if all the disclosure happens, that the beings who are already here on the planet would then find an opportunity to arrive in some big way that you can't deny they're here.
Yes, a huge mass sighting event is what he is saying will happen if disclosure does not come before 2027. That's what he's saying, and the fact that a CIA guy is running around in UFO circles saying this, I don't know. I just can't believe it.
It's like that movie Arrival, that here they are, here they are. And so I hope that would happen. And that's what I said as my opinion. But the interesting thing is that in this skiff of the United States government, the year 2027 came up in a question to me about an event in the future. They didn't tell me what they thought about it. They asked.
So John Ramirez, former CIA guy, is in a skiff in a classified setting, right? And he thinks it's just okay, apparently, if he's telling the truth about being in a skiff and in a classified meeting. I don't know. He thinks it's just okay to take information that was conveyed back and forth in that classified meeting and just blab it on Jimmy Church Fade the Bull show, right? But it gets better, because Anjali is now saying that the government authorized John Ramirez to release this classified information on the Jimmy Church Fade the Bull show, right? And I'm sorry, but this is where it gets ridiculous. because if you know anything about classification or, skiffs and, meetings where things that are being discussed are classified and of a classified nature, and John Ramirez said it was classified, right? This is classified, right? You can't go and discuss what was discussed there anywhere. It would be a violation of the Espionage Act. So are we all supposed to believe that John Ramirez was in a top secret meeting in a skiff somewhere where they were discussing aliens, and then the government just said, sure, John, you can go blab that classified information. By the way, I don't think that this man is telling the truth, but that's my opinion. Provide some backup. Let's get some government people to confirm that what you're saying is true, Mr. Ramirez. He can't and he won't, because this is the game. The game is I have top secret insider classified information, and I can share it with certain people like Jimmy Church. The government's authorized me to. Sure. So anybody's free to do this. Go call anybody in the government and ask if they've authorized the release of classified information on Jimmy Church's radio show. And let's be clear, this is not the first time that this grift has been run on Jimmy Church's show. He once claimed to be in possession of classified information. The classified version of the original UAP report. Jimmy Church and Richard Dolan and others claimed to be in possession of that classified version, right? No, they weren't. And Richard Dolan did a really bad bluff and put up on the screen what his notes were on what was in the classified UAP report, and then it got released a little while later, redacted, and none of the stuff that Richard Dolan talked about was in that report. And Jimmy Church and Richard Dolan, I put them on blast saying they were lying. They would get arrested if they were in possession of classified information, and that's true, they would. Same for Mr. Ramirez, but suddenly we're supposed to believe that Mr. Ramirez, former CIA guy, is being authorized by the government to talk about what happened in classified meetings inside skiffs he was in. Sure.
Asked me what I thought about it, and I gave them my thoughts about it. And that's been talked about by other guests that you had. I would share something.
We should have said by other grifters that you had. And here's where he's going to talk about Anjali.
That I recently got approval to share.
Let's go.
Okay, yeah. The government is approving him to share information about Anjali, former Defense Intelligence Agency information warfare specialist who got caught selling a 100% provably fake story about aliens, right? Let's be clear. These are the facts. Anjali, former Defense Intelligence Agency person who specialized in information warfare and got caught selling a 100% provably fake story. Now, Mr. Ramirez is going to tell us that the government has authorized him to release information about her.
Okay, so you had a guest, Anjali, right after she had her appearance at the Lincoln Memorial.
I did.
Back in 2021. Now, a lot of people...
and so did I. And let me tell you the difference between me and Jimmy Church. Jimmy Church just let her talk and sell her fake story, because that's what kind of guy Jimmy Church is. Intellectual weakling, right? This guy couldn't research his way out of a paper bag, right? He did no prep. He did no research on her. We did the full court press. We did a background investigation and verified all of her claims of government educational claims and of working for the government. We found her original so-called witnesses to the alien events, interviewed them, and they said none of that happened. Nothing that Anjali said happened. Jimmy Church just let her talk. We busted the story as fake. That's the difference between Fade the Bull and Truthseekers. And I got to tell you, Jimmy Church, if you're listening, and I know he's a huge fan and listens to all of our shows here, people are getting tired of your way of selling garbage. People are tired of that, right? And that's the difference, Jimmy. You had an opportunity and a chance, the same chance I did, to fully investigate Anjali's claims and make some determinations, right? To fully investigate her claims and, find out if she was telling the truth or not. Jimmy Church chose to just sit there like an idiot and let her sell a fake story on his show, right? We didn't do that. We did the full court press on her, and we found out the truth. While Jimmy Church was actively selling you lies, just a week or two later, we were bringing you the truth of that entire story.
Said many things about Anjali. They thought she was an imposter or she's disinformation, one of us, disinformation, quote unquote. And I can say that, you may not know this, but Anjali was who she said what she was. She was an officer in the Defense Intelligence Agency. And you had her on.
Yeah, and the reason everybody knows that is because we vetted her. Jimmy didn't do any vetting. He's gonna bluff his way through this. Oh yeah, she sent me a lot of paperwork. What did you do with the paperwork, Jimmy? Do you have on the record sources verifying her paperwork was real? I do. Jimmy didn't do anything. He just accepted her story. We vetted her. And yes, she did work for the Defense Intelligence Agency. And yes, her education was correct. However, her entire story was fake.
As a guest, I don't know if she provided you with bona fides, but
she sent me all of her. I don't want to get.
Yeah, you don't have to, but you were convinced, right? You were convinced that she says who she was.
She sent me too much paperwork.
Yeah, Jimmy was convinced because Anjali said, "Here's my paperwork, and I am who I, my background is real." So he was just convinced because she said it. We were convinced because we checked it all. Jimmy didn't check anything, to my knowledge, and if he did, show us your on the record sources. We did.
Okay, that's a good sign. That's what we government people do. We inundate you with paperwork.
Yes, she sent me her ID cards and everything else.
That's certainly what.
Well, did you know that Anjali was interviewed by government UAP investigators?
I did not.
Yes, and also, did you know that the reason for doing so was to figure out a way to preserve evidence or documentation from this journey into the cave, which the government knew about.
Okay, so this is where it gets funny. John Ramirez, maybe he's misinformed, right? There was no cave. There was no tunnel. She made that entire story up. So John Ramirez is saying they want to preserve the evidence from her trip inside the cave with the aliens, right? Well, there was no cave and there was no tunnel. So why would the government not know that? We know that because we busted the entire story as fake. And also, here's John Ramirez on the record in an interview saying that Anjali was interviewed by UAP investigators with the government. Well, we've got some information that is a completely and totally false claim, and we'll share it with you shortly here.
And they wanted a chain of custody for any information or any documentation, any evidence in that cave for a customer.
And he keeps saying that cave. There is no cave. Friends, the tunnel that she described, the cave that she described does not exist. There's nothing there.
And that customer was the UAP task force.
Okay, so here we go. The UAP task force, right? We're going to show you some other information in a moment.
And so people who say things about Anjali, you might not take her seriously, but I do, because I know that the government takes her seriously. And when she described her contact with the beings that she described as mantis beings, that resonated with people. And when people have experiences, the government shows up.
Oh, her fake story resonated with people. Mr. Ramirez, there was no tunnel. Mr. Ramirez, the other people present the night of her so-called alien encounters completely dispute everything that she described as not being reality, right? But we're all supposed to believe, and hey, for all I know, a bunch of stupid people in the government did believe her and do this, but I don't think so, and we're going to see some proof of that in a moment.
Look at Chris Bledsoe. You interviewed Chris Bledsoe.
I have.
Here's a guy who was had a construction business in Fayetteville, North Carolina, right outside Fayetteville. Just an ordinary guy, and he had this experience, and he related his experience, but something about what he said resonated with the government people working the UAP issue.
Yeah, and there we have it. John Ramirez saying that the government has authorized him to release this secret information and talking about things that conversations that took place inside a classified meeting inside a skiff. I call bull. Bull, Mr. Ramirez. Either prove that your claims are true and accurate, or stop lying and stop helping Jimmy Church sell lies to his audience. Jimmy Church has sold enough lies to his audience. He doesn't need your help to sell more lies to his audience. John Ramirez, CIA guy, is a professional liar. But the thing about liars is that sometimes a righteous and truthful man can prove them a liar. And we're going to do that right now. So you heard the claims, the UAP task force, they wanted to get the information on Anjali, and they interviewed her, right? So let's share this. And Anjali is in on this lie. Is this another government psyop? Are government agents working together to deceive the UFO community? I think so. In fact, I think it's incredibly clear that two separate former government employees are actively working together to deceive the UFO community. Now, I don't know about you, but I want answers from my government. Why is this happening? Why is this allowed to happen? But we have a tweet from Tim McMillan that sort of blows this whole garbage fake story to shreds. And as well it should, my friends. So before we get into what he says, let's look at what Anjali says. John Ramirez knows who I speak with from the Department of Defense, aware through official channels of my multiple interviews with UAPTF in 2021 and 2022. Ramirez approached me, explained details, offered support. My gratitude for our trust-based friendship overflows. And here's where it gets interesting. She says, John received clearance to release info on Jimmy Church Radio. No conspiracy. And then she says, this is just Department of Defense business. Is it Department of Defense business to have two government agents working together to lie to and deceive the UFO community about a former Defense Intelligence Agency worker, employee who got caught selling a completely and totally fake story about aliens? Does that sound like Department of Defense business to anyone else? Because it doesn't sound like Department of Defense business to me. Sounds shady, because it is. Now remember, she says she has multiple interviews with UAPTF in 2021 and 2022. Former UAPTF Director John Stratton confirmed to Tim McMillan in an on-the-record comment that no one from the Pentagon's UAPTF ever interviewed Anjali, either formally or informally. So what's the deal here? Is Anjali and John Ramirez just full of crap? Is Anjali and John Ramirez working together in some sort of government operation to actively deceive, manipulate, and lie to the UFO community? It would appear so, because John Stratton says they never interviewed her, either formally or informally. So what is the disconnect here? And why is a former CIA guy going on a public radio show where the other government agent is saying John received clearance to release this information? From who? Who gave John Ramirez clearance to release anything? Do you have a name? Can we check in with them? Can we get an on-the-record comment or statement from them proving you're not a liar, proving that the two of you have not lied together to try to sell yet another fake story? And Anjali, haven't you been caught already selling a completely and totally fake story, your entire original story came crashing down. There is no tunnel. There is no cave. The witnesses, the night Anjali claims to have met with multiple species of extraterrestrial aliens inside a base, inside a mountain, in a cave. There was no cave. And the witnesses say, none of this happened. This is all a work of fiction, perpetrated and put forth by a former government agent. And I should put the word former in quotes. And this, my friends, is the game of whack-a-mole. We've already whacked that Anjali mole. And here she is popping up again. But let's not forget that recently, Anjali got a very lucrative, I hear, deal with Gaia TV. And even though her entire original story, we proved was 100% false and fake and deceptive, and none of that ever happened, Anjali got a very lucrative deal, I hear, to go on Gaia TV and tell her alien fairy tale stories. And she did. And did you know that while she was telling her story, she just stuck to her original story? She forgot to mention that this little show called Truthseekers, hosted by none other than me, Steve Cambion, researched her story, found the original witnesses, and her entire original story fell apart live on our show. All of it was fake. All of it was deceptive. All of it was a goddamn fairy tale spoon-fed to stupid people by a former specialist in information warfare. Can you understand me? Why is a former government specialist in information warfare infiltrating the UFO community and spreading 100% fake stories about aliens and alien bases and alien beings and caves that don't even goddamn exist? I'm left in this game of whack-a-mole with one Anjali with more questions than answers. But Anjali, of course, is a perfect example of this game of whack-a-mole that we play. Now, friends, let us move on into the next person. And I'm sure there's more that I have to say about one Anjali, but we'll keep it concise tonight because we have a lot to go through. Next in the game of whack-a-mole is one Ross Coulthart, who is a disgraced Australian journalist who was either fired or laid off from his once lucrative job at 60 Minutes Australia. And we detailed an entire story about that. Why did he get canned from a real journalist job shortly before he began infiltrating the UFO community and become what I believe to be the UFO community's worst or best profiteering UFO whore? It depends on how you look at it. If you're a UFO grifter, you gotta love and respect the money that this guy, this clown, has made, right? So he gets fired or his contract not renewed or laid off from his real job at 60 Minutes Australia. You can go to our previous videos here, just search his name, Ross Coulthart, and you'll see a story we did called Why Does Ross Coulthart Follow or Cover UFOs Now? And it would appear that he got canned or let go or contract not renewed. We want to, you know, I'm unable to get confirmation that he was fired. He claims, I believe, that his contract was not renewed because Ross Coulthart got caught selling a 100% provably fake story about pedos, about the entire British Parliament, right, being all pedophiles, right? And it turns out that that entire story, which was hyped to the wazoo as the biggest political scandal in the world, was based on fake stories. and fake sources. It was a fake story. This man was willing to destroy men's reputation for profit. And the organization Media Watch called it an incredibly deceptive piece. So deceptive, in fact, that Mr. Coulthard could not recover from that and keep his job, apparently. And he was off into the world of UFO grifting. Because after being let go from 60 Minutes Australia, suddenly Ross Coulthard is writing UFO books. He's a UFO expert now. He's interviewing top secret government people. And great. Recently, in the game of whack-a-mole, we caught Ross Coulthard and, to a lesser extent, I suppose, Gary Nolan, selling the 100% provably fake story of Jim's balls. You know, where they claimed that they had 100% proof, right? They claimed they had 100% proof, conclusive proof of alien technology, all confirmed by this man. And then they cut to a shot of Michio Kaku, essentially implying that they had 100% proof of conclusive proof of alien technology, and Michio Kaku was going to confirm it. Now, that was a clickbait garbage piece. Clickbait garbage. And nothing that they claimed in the promos to that story were true. The story was so bad that News 7 had to take it off their YouTube channel. So deceptive, they could have lost their YouTube channel over what we now know to be at least the second 100% provably fake story that Ross Coulthard has been caught selling. And Gary Nolan, of course, claimed that he was going to analyze the material of Jim's balls. Let us never forget Jim's balls, friends.
I got scrapings off Jim's balls. 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 I got scrapings off Jim's balls.
He sure did. So apparently, what we saw in that shot is Gary Nolan at Stanford University standing in front of a what I believe to be a very expensive mass spectrometer machine, which should be able to determine elemental makeup and also isotopic ratio. Those two things alone would be enough to determine if a ball, a metal ball, found on Earth was actually of alien origin, like some were claiming. And let me just be very clear. I worked at a university lab with lots of expensive scientific equipment, and but I still was no expert. So we reached out to someone I trust at the former university I worked at, which would be Drexel University. And that person confirmed for me that a mass spectrometer test with isotopic ratios would take 20 or 30 minutes to complete. So Gary Nolan's supposed to do the analysis on the ball. He never does. And there's a reason for that. And I believe it is because we raised the issue of the Stanford University Code of Ethics, which says that you can't use university labs and equipment to personally profit. And I'm told he was paid to be a part of that Ross Coulthard garbage piece, so he personally profited. And by the way, I reached out to Mr. Nolan for confirmation that he was paid to be a part of that. He sent me a nasty email saying that I was spreading conspiracy theories or something, right? No, I was asking questions. Were you paid to be a part of that garbage piece, that fake story, Mr. Nolan? Were you paid to sell your perceived credibility and the perceived credibility of Stanford University to help a UFO grifter sell a 100% provably fake story of conclusive proof of alien technology, all confirmed by Michio Kaku? Were you paid for that? Suddenly, after we raised these issues and after we, rang the alarm bell that Ross Coulthard and apparently Dr. Gary Nolan were working together to sell a provably fake story, and that profiting from selling a provably fake story or using university labs and equipment might be against Stanford Code of Ethics, suddenly Dr. Gary Nolan can't do the analysis, and he needs $100 million to build a lab. Let me tell you something. You can go to a service company for, I'm told, $500 and have that test done. If you have access to the proper testing machinery, you can have that test performed in 20 or 30 minutes. And that will tell you if the metals in that alien balls, were they really alien balls? The test will be able to tell you if they were alien balls or not. And you can perform the test in 20 or 30 minutes. It's over a year now. Where is the analysis, Dr. Gary Nolan? And why, oh why, on God's green earth is Dr. Gary Nolan doing materials analysis? That is not his field of speciality or research. He's an immunologist. Can he work a mass spectrometer? Probably, but he's not a materials scientist. That's not the person you get to analyze materials. But somehow, because he's an alien wackadoo, he's going to be a materials specialist and help Ross Coulthard prove the story of the alien balls, right? You got to love it. You got to love this entire grift and how it works, right? Now, a real researcher would get a materials specialist to determine whether that ball, the metals that comprise that ball, were of alien origin or not. And it's a very simple test, actually, because there are the same elements in all star systems, but there will be differences of isotopic ratios based on different various factors. So you could do the test in 20 or 30 minutes and determine if the metals in the ball came from Earth's solar system or some other solar system. Again, it would take 20 or 30 minutes to do that analysis. And, I, for one, think that it was all a grift. It was all a grift to sell a fake story. They had no intention of bringing you those results. Or they got all excited about Jim's balls being alien balls. These two alien wackadoos got all excited, right? They got huge hard-ons for those alien balls, right? And they thought they were going to get the goods. And maybe we didn't get any results because Gary Nolan did that test that takes 20 or 30 minutes and found out that it's ordinary earthly metals. And he didn't want to look like an idiot for helping sell a 100% fake story. So then suddenly he's coming up with all kinds of other excuses. And let's be clear, these two work together to sell a 100% provably fake story.
I probably would be more cautious about in terms of how we present it is the sphere story, for the simple fact that we just don't know yet whether it is or it isn't non-human technology.
We have new, conclusive proof, testable evidence of alien technology.
Frankly, whilst a lot of people want us to say, yeah, it's alien technology, we're not going to say that.
We have new, conclusive proof, testable evidence of alien technology. This renowned scientist confirms it all.
Whilst a lot of people want us to say, yeah, it's alien technology, we're not going to say that because that's a terrible danger.
We have new, conclusive proof, testable evidence of alien technology.
A lot of people want us to say, yeah, it's alien technology. We're not going to say that.
Alien technology. This renowned scientist confirms it all.
We're not going to say that.
New conclusive proof, testable evidence of alien technology. This renowned scientist confirms it all.
We're not going to say that for the simple fact that we just don't know yet whether it is or it isn't non-human tech.
Yeah. I'm afraid that he did in his promos say that they had conclusive proof of alien technology, all confirmed by Michio Kaku. Cut to a shot of Michio Kaku. And by the way, we've reached out to Michio Kaku to ask if he knew that, he was helping them sell this completely fake story. No reply. Great. But we did get confirmation that Michio Kaku was paid to be in that piece. So it's reasonable to assume that if one scientist was paid to be in that piece, that another scientist who won't answer questions about was he paid to be in that piece in the form of Dr. Gary Nolan may have been paid to be in that piece. And this brings up all kinds of problems. Now, of course, Dr. Gary Nolan didn't like it. He did not like it in our game of whack-a-mole because and once in a while, I am happy to see something happen. So what happened after this fake garbage story that they sold in our game of whack-a-mole is that people started asking Gary Nolan, where's the ball shavings analysis, Gary Nolan? It takes 20 or 30 minutes to do that test. Where's the analysis? Where's the test results you promised everyone, right? You already promised you had the evidence and the proof. By the way, not only did they not have conclusive proof of alien technology, they had no evidence of alien technology. None. That didn't stop them from making a whole lot of money selling a clickbait garbage piece with no evidence. So after that piece, a lot of people were upset with Dr. Gary Nolan and the test. Where's the test results, Gary? Everybody started asking him on social media where the test results were. And then he blocked half of the population of the United States for asking questions. What a clown. He's not a scientist. He's a clown in a lab coat. He's an alien wackadoo clown in a lab coat. And this clown, boy, he did not like people asking where those test results were.
They come to me with some of their results, and I basically said, these results are shit. So I'm sorry to the people who are so friggin' impatient that they won't get off their butt and go learn this stuff and do it themselves. I'm not your daddy. I'm not here to do things for you. I'm sorry. Get out of your basement and go do something. I've seen some of those snap your fingers reports, and they're garbage. Publish the darn paper. Stop claiming that. This is shoddy work. This can't go anywhere. Who did this? It's crap.
Yeah. So a whole lot of excuses from Dr. Gary Nolan, who, by the way, has access to millions of dollars in testing equipment at his labs or labs related to his. He could have done that test in minutes and released the results. He could have done that test before they aired the piece, and the test results could have been included in the piece. But for one reason or another, he and Ross Coulthard didn't include the results. Why is that? Is it because those test results would have negated them making a lot of money selling a completely fake story? I think so. I think definitely so. It doesn't help sell your garbage fake story if you have the test results that say ordinary earthly metals. Ordinary earthly metals. Nothing alien about Jim's balls, Dr. Gary Nolan. Nothing alien about Jim's balls, Ross Coulthard. But hey, don't let getting caught. Remember, we're talking about whack-a-mole. So here we've detailed these two clowns getting caught selling a 100% provably fake story where they claimed they had conclusive proof of alien technology and they had nothing, right? This is the whack-a-mole. After they get caught with this fake story, they just come back with new fake stories, right? And Ross Coulthard is back with new fake stories to share. And one second, let me find that, and we will again cite fair use. This is transformative work. We're educating the public about UFO grifter whack-a-mole, because we whack them and then they pop right back up, completely whacked. These guys selling a totally fake story, and this is how pointless it is. This is the exercise in futility, because right after we catch them selling that other completely fake story, Ross Coulthard is back with new fantastical fairy tales, right? And by the way, shouldn't these guys who get caught have to address getting caught with the fake story that they just got caught selling, right? And why should they be allowed to make more money off of new fantastical fairy tales if they haven't proven the last set of fantastical fairy tales that they got caught selling for money? This is where we find ourselves.
I think this is the key issue, Bryce. The key issue now is what's going to happen next. Are the public going to be told what, frankly, I know? I know the Congress knows. I know senior congressmen and senators have been briefed in very extreme detail, right down to program names, code names, key officials, locations of storage of material.
Yeah. So apparently, Ross Coulthard is one of the people that is pushing the, trust me, dude, alien crash retrievals are real. And we have alien bodies and alien crash recovered, flying saucers and more. And we have alien technology and the government knows about it. And I know they know about it. Well, why doesn't he ever name names, right? Isn't that a little convenient? This man, fresh off of getting caught selling a completely, totally fake story about the British government being run by child predators, then he comes into the UFO community and he gets caught selling another completely and totally fake story about he had conclusive proof of alien technology confirmed by Michio Kaku, and now he's out there telling these fairy tales. It's whack-a-mole. We whack them down, and they pop right back up with new fantastical fairy tales.
I know this information has and is being given to Congress by loyal, patriotic Americans who've decided it's time this story be told. And what the Mail's revealed this morning, that there are 6 whistleblowers who've claimed that they worked on military UFO programs, retrieving and analyzing crash material from non-human technology.
Well, that's quite a bold statement. And Ross Coulthard claims to know that these 6 people told these stories to the American government. So can we have the names of those people, Ross, so that we can verify that they said that? They said what you're saying they said? And no offense, Ross Coulthard has a proven track record of selling fake stories. And this is what he's saying now. History matters. A journalist's track record of getting caught selling fake stories should be considered when we hear these whoppers. But this is where we find ourselves.
I'm told that's true. Now, I haven't seen these craft. I haven't seen these objects, but I'm told these whistleblowers are coming forward.
And here's his partner in slime. What happened to him? He used to be somewhat credible until he hitched his wagon to this garbage peddler.
Testifying under oath. They're people who are prepared to put their lives on the line by basically coming forward to Congress. And lawyer Danny Sheehan said he's in contact with them, that he's assisting them and representing them before the Congress.
Why don't any of these people put up or shut up? Oh, that reminds me of a wonderful video by John from the Black Vault telling these people to put up or shut up. Now's the time, gentlemen. Put up or shut up. You better start releasing names. This anonymous told me is not going to work anymore. The grift is over. You better start putting up or you all should shut up.
They're claiming they've worked on Roswell-style UFO crash retrieval and reverse engineering programs. And I know, because I've spoken to people on the inside, there are people who have come forward to Congress, who have testified with this information. They've given very specific detail. Now, the big question is whether the United States government, the United States military, decides to do the honorable thing and finally fess up about what they know. We are, I think, my friend, at a very important moment in history.
Oh yeah,
This is a
very important moment in Ross Coulthard's history, because this, my friends, this could be the third 100% provably fake story that he gets caught peddling for cash, right? And we always have to remember that this guy's track record matters. We have him dead to rights selling 2 completely fake stories. Completely fake twice. Is it 3 strikes? Are we going to strike him out after this and tell him he's no longer welcome here, selling his fairy tales? Of course not. It's whack-a-mole. We'll whack down this fake story and he'll be back with something else. He'll be back with something else because the grift goes on, friends. The grift never ends for some of these people. It never ends. All right. So we're making fairly good time. And by the way, I want to thank everybody in the live chat. We will try and we'll read the super chats at the end of our presentation here. Now, the next contestant on UFO Grifter Whack-A-Mole is, of course, Linda Moulton Howe. And I'm going to do this one quickly because people are sick of hearing me talk about this. But for the benefit of those that don't know, Linda Moulton Howe has been caught selling provably fake stories 10 times. Lots more than probably any of these others, maybe with the possible exception of Corey Good. We once caught her selling a video game cover. It was the video game cover from the video game Area 51 on PlayStation, the Area 51 video game. And she sold that story, and we caught her. We caught her dead to rights. And let me get an image so that we can, here, we'll share this tab. So you see this image of this alien in this Area 51 PlayStation 2 game. By the way, I recognize this instantly because I played the hell out of this game. It was a fun alien shoot 'em up on PlayStation 2. So Linda Moulton Howe gets caught. Oh, let me make that bigger. Sorry. Linda Moulton Howe gets caught. She was selling this image from the Area 51 video game as a, quote, genuine gray alien photo taken on the moon during a secret moon mission, unquote. She was charging people money to see more and hear more about this provably 100% fake story. Then we enter Truthseekers Whack-A-Mole, and we whacked that. We whacked that old bag. We whacked her. This is a fake story. Whack her. Whack her. This is a whole fake lot of nonsense. Let's play UFO Grifter Whack-A-Mole. And Linda Moulton Howe whacked the mole. And we whacked her good, friends. We whacked her so good that she was once asked about this situation and she lost her goddamn mind. The delusion bubble that she had created around herself of being a credible, real journalist with awards all fell apart because she got caught selling this story, right? And like a lot of these grifters, they don't want to talk about it. When they get caught selling selling these fake stories, they just do the Cosmic Con shuffle, go away for a little while, take a little vacation, come back with new fake stories. And of course, my friends, Linda Moulton Howe did the Cosmic Con shuffle. She went away for a little while, and then she came back with new fake stories. And I'm gonna share my screen one more time, just to explain this one. 1 second. I always forget to do one thing, and then it bothers me I apologize. 1 second. All right, here. I didn't get the thumbnail from the second story that we played Whack-A-Mole with Linda Moulton Howe. But yeah, here is the second time. Friends, if you get caught selling alien pictures that are fake as real pictures of aliens, not once, but twice, your career, if you can call it a career, but if you get caught selling fake pictures of aliens as actual photograph of real aliens, and you get caught doing that twice, your career should be over. Linda Moulton Howe, after getting caught selling fake pictures of aliens, not once but twice, and by the way, I'm told it's actually 3 times because she did this same scam once before the first one we caught her with. So Linda gets caught selling the first set of fake alien pictures from an Area 51 video game cover. And we played a whack-a-mole, whacker. It's a fake story, whacker. She goes away for a little while, pops right back up. And not long after the first whack, she pops back up with new fantastical fairy tales to sell us. And it's the same scam. Fake pictures of aliens. Again, twice we caught her selling 100% provably fake pictures of aliens as real pictures of aliens. And this woman talks about her being a journalist. Journalists don't sell fake pictures of aliens for cash to stupid people, Linda. You should be ashamed of yourself. And you know who else should be ashamed? Anybody still watching her. Because you are feeding a scammer that which they desire. Clicks, views, and money. And in this game of whack-a-mole, it wasn't over. Because not long after this, she popped up with this. She popped up again. And the next time, she was selling a fake Nazi reincarnated Vril. Oh, God, I don't even know how I explain that one. The Marina Sarin girl. She grifted with her to the tune of, I think, 1 million monetized views, right? 1 second. Yeah. So she interviews Marina Sarin, who has expressed many anti-Semitic comments, and she's a Nazi. And the girl claimed to be both a Nazi reincarnated general, and also a reincarnated Vril psychic, much like Marina Orsic, who is a creation of fiction that does not exist. And we whack the mole again. That doesn't stop her. Nothing stops the mole, Linda Moulton Howe. Nothing. And she's right back again, selling provably fake stories for cash. And the game of whack-a-mole continues, friends. And it doesn't stop. It just doesn't stop. The grift goes on. Now, the next contestant on our game of UFO grifter whack-a-mole is Jimmy Church. Jimmy Church has been caught helping. I have to be very clear on Jimmy Church because it's confusing, right? Is Jimmy Church a UFO grifter? Alien grifter? I would say yes, but his modus operandi is a little different. Jimmy Church makes money helping the scammers and the grifters sell their scams and grifts. That's how his scam works, right? And why is Jimmy Church hosting public events around the UFO and alien stuff when he's been caught helping complete total scammers sell fake stories over and over and over again? Jimmy Church has been caught with, most recently, let's go back a little ways. Jimmy Church, of course, was caught helping Corey Goode sell his garbage, and he appeared at many conferences, appeared to fully endorse Mr. Corey Goode as, a credible source of information, interviewed him on his show many times, interviewed David Wilcock on his show, who then used Jimmy Church's audience to promote a GoFundMe scam. David Wilcock did on Jimmy Church. Then Jimmy Church hosted David Wilcock some more And what did David Wilcock choose to do? Promote a PayPal donation scam for Emery Smith, where Emery Smith claimed to be under deep state attack. You remember that. But it turns out that Emery Smith was actually in the hospital for alcohol poisoning. He didn't get attacked by the Men in Black or the deep state. Emery Smith got attacked by a big old bottle of vodka, apparently. And there may have been some drugs involved, allegedly. Jimmy Church also platformed, let's see, Sarah R. Adams, the fake psychic who got caught telling cancer patients she could shrink their cancer cells in an undercover investigation that we did here, right? And this is the difference, right? And by the way, Sarah R. Adams was supposed to do an interview here, but I was a little green at the time, and I did the investigation on her first and presented it, and then said, come on the show, let's talk about it. She refused. But she, of course, goes on Jimmy Church's show talking about how she has superpowers, how she goes through, she could go through black holes and talk to the aliens inside black holes. That was one of her superpowers. And while Jimmy Church was hosting Sarah R. Adams was actively selling fake medbed sessions. You know, where they take you up through a Stargate to a spaceship, you lay on a med bed, you meet the extraterrestrials. Oh, except in the fine print way at the bottom, we find out that it's just a Skype call for $350 or something like that. Sarah R. Adams was running that scam while Jimmy Church interviewed her. He had a responsibility, both to himself and to his audience, to investigate her claims and, stop her from scamming people. He didn't do that. He just let her talk and advertise her garbage to stupid people. Jimmy Church treats his audience like a pool of victims that he rents out to the scammers, in my opinion. Well, let's say there was also Jason Shirka that Jimmy Church hosted. And while Jimmy Church was interviewing Jason Shirka was telling people behind a paywall that you could cure autism with camel milk and essential oils. I have an autistic son. I take personal offense at scammers pretending to have a cure for autism. If it was that simple to cure autism, the American Medical Association would know about it, and so would organizations like Autism Speaks and other autistic-related, charities related to the scourge of autism. Jimmy Church had a responsibility to investigate his guests' claims, and when found to be false, like telling people there's a cure for autism that involves camel milk and essential oils, you stand up and you say something. You ask questions about that. You do the right thing. Jimmy never did that. He just let that guy talk, sell his Patreon, get behind my paywall, and hear all about this nonsense, right? And let's not forget, of course, his selling of the lies of Corey Goode. For those unaware, Corey Goode told space stories for 8 years. Frequent guest on Jimmy Church's crap show, Fade to Bull. Frequent guest of Jimmy Church's at live events where Jimmy Church would even introduce him as his good friend, right? Fast forward just a little while later. And by the way, here's the difference between you and me, Jimmy Church. While you were profiting with scammer, liar, Corey Goode, we were investigating him. We were asking important, serious questions. And we said that Corey Goode was lying about all of it. While you were helping Corey Goode sell his lie, we were busting his lies. That's the difference between Fade the Bull and Truthseekers, Jimmy Church. And I mentioned it before. I'm going to mention it again. Why are your numbers in the shitter, Jimmy Church? You don't even know. You don't even get it. People are sick of you doing this. People are sick of you treating a big audience like a pool of victims to buy garbage, fake stories from garbage, fake people. Corey Goode admitted under oath that he made it all up. Jimmy Church didn't even apologize to his audience. You know what else Jimmy Church didn't apologize for? David Wilcock promoting scams right on his show to his audience. Never apologized for that. Jimmy Church never apologized for hosting Jason Shirka, who was lying about cures for autism behind his paywalls. Jimmy Church never apologized for hosting and promoting Sarah R. Adams, who was, by the way, scamming people for fake medbed sessions right at the time he was interviewing her. Never apologized. That's another hallmark of the whack-a-mole game. When you whack them, they don't own up to it. They're like children caught with their hand in the cookie jar, crumbs all over their face and all down their shirt. No, I wasn't in the cookie jar. Yes, you were. Own up to it. Be a man, you bitter, angry little man. Geez, what a child. That's something a child does, Jimmy Church. You got caught how many times now helping people promote scams? You never even apologized to your audience, dude. That's why you're losing your audience. That's why your show is shrinking and dying a slow death, as it should. And that's why we are growing, because people are tired of these people with no personal moral fortitude, no integrity, no ethics. People are sick of it, and they're hungry for better, and we are that better. But let's not forget that in another game of whack-a-mole we recently played with Jimmy Church hosted and promoted, of course, and appeared to fully endorse the story of the fake Dr. Jonathan Reed, right? And what did Jimmy do? Zero research, apparently. Even though this man says, I vet everything 3 times, he didn't vet that guy, because Dr. Jonathan Reed is a fake doctor with a fake work history, a fake education, and more. And Jimmy Church, in one of our most recent games of Jimmy Church whack-a-mole, whack 'em down. Jimmy Church caught selling a guest who is completely and totally a fraud. Fake doctor, fake work history, fake claims, fake evidence, and more. Fake scientists backing up his claims that aren't real scientists. Oh, it's a great story. And by the way, it's in our former, you can watch the whole story here. Dr. Jonathan Reed, the hoax doctor, has arrived. And Jimmy Church says, I vet things 3 times. No, he doesn't. Jimmy Church is a piss poor researcher. He's not a researcher. He's a clown who sells fairy tales to stupid people with scammers. That's the game. That's the grift. And get used to it, because none of this is going to change. A leopard does not change their spots, as they say. And Jimmy Church has been doing this his entire career, in my opinion. Jimmy Church has been helping grifters sell garbage the entire time he has been involved in this subject. He's not going to change now. In fact, he's teaching whole new generations how to grift off of grifters. Jimmy Church is grifting off of grifters, and he's teaching whole new generations how to do it too, in the form of, what is his partner's name? Christina Gomer, right? Who he sat next to and pretended the Montauk Project was real, and he left out all the parts about the masturbation parties and the gay sex and all that. Yeah. Great job, Jimmy Church. Great job, Christina Gomer. Right? Whack. But don't worry, because we've just seen that Jimmy Church is back with new grifters selling new fake stories, even after we've whacked them for the last bunch. The game of whack-a-mole continues. It's UFO grifter whack-a-mole. We whack them down, and they just pop right back up with new fantastical fairy tales for stupid people. Great. Awesome. So, and Jimmy Church, let's not forget what I believe is his greatest sin, because the monster of Corey Goode was created by a few different people, a few different Frankensteins, if you will, created the greatest UFO grifter ever, right? Corey Goode, who lied about everything, said he went to Mars on Jimmy Church's show, talked about Mars moon bases, Mars bases he helped construct on Jimmy Church's show, talked about spaceships landing in his backyard and taking him to moon bases on Jimmy Church's show. And then in a court deposition under oath, Corey Goode was forced to admit that he'd never been to space. And he made it all up. It was all lies. And Jimmy Church helped him for years to sell those lies, even calling him my good friend. Well, grifters going to grift, and grifters grift together.
Are at the brink of things. Can you guys feel this? No longer are we the strange group, man. It's the rest of the world that's tripping. Am I right? I'm going to say this right now, and I mean this. I want to introduce my good friend to you, Mr. Corey Goode. Corey, get it up here.
Thank you. Is this a sign? Well, thank you for joining me. I appreciate everyone that's like.
Yeah. How many more grifters is Jimmy Church going to sell his audience? How many more complete and total liars is Jimmy Church going to ram down the ears and eyes of his audience, his shrinking audience, by the way? Unless he has a huge name guest, we beat his numbers sometime. And that's pretty pathetic, Jimmy Church, because you got a 20-something plus year head start on our show, right? And by the way, if I were Jimmy Church, I would look into something called torturous interference when it comes to guests, right? It's not a good idea to interfere with somebody else's show, allegedly. And that's all I'm going to say about that. Jimmy Church is the grifter helper. He's not the guy with the bull cart. He's the guy helping the guy with the bull cart push it up the hill. He has been his entire career. I'm doubtful that is ever going to change, right? This is just the way that it is. And that is what we can tell you about our games of whack-a-mole, UFO grifter whack-a-mole with Jimmy Church. Every time we whack him down, he comes back with some other garbage to sell, right? It's UFO grifter whack-a-mole, and it's pointless. Now, Corey Goode, I believe that we have explained him to the ends of the earth. Of course, Corey Goode spent 8 years selling completely and totally fake stories. He's even admitted that the stories were fake. He's admitted he's never been to space. Kind of hard to be a secret space program insider if you have to admit under oath that you've never been to space. Isn't it interesting? Mr. Goode made an awful lot of claims. But my favorite is when he was running around getting paid to tell space stories at UFO conventions and conferences, and he talked about how he went to Mars and built a secret base on Mars. But then under oath, he said he'd never been to Mars, never been to space. My favorite, one of my favorite, and UFO grifter whack-a-mole king is got to be Corey Goode. Because boy, did we whack that mole, right? Corey Goode, when he did those depositions, it's very important if people listen to those depositions that you acknowledge and understand fully that apparently Corey Goode's lawyer told him that no one would ever see those depositions. Corey Goode's lawyer told him no one would ever hear anything you say in these depositions. We'll get them marked confidential. No. And then she didn't do it right. You can't mark an entire deposition confidential. So those depositions were leaked. By the way, people have suggested they were leaked illegally. That is not the case. Or, we would have a court order to take them down, and they would be taken down off of YouTube, Rumble, BitChute. They're everywhere. And no one is ordering the takedown of those. This is just talking points of a desperate man who got caught lying for 8 years. But Corey Good's, my favorite of Corey Good's fake stories is when he told everybody that he made bases on Mars, right? He helped construct bases on Mars. Sure he did. But under oath, he had a different story to tell.
Never lived on Mars. No, never said that.
You never said that you lived on Mars?
No.
They would ship. Everything was prefabricated. Everything had been put together on Earth, designed to go together like a puzzle by numbers. And I helped actually to build out an outpost on Mars. And we used a lot of the local materials on the surface after they had built below ground. And it was very much like this. It was much lower tech than you would expect.
Never lived on Mars. No, never said that.
You never said that you lived on Mars?
No.
And as I stated, that Corey Good must be the king of UFO grifter whack-a-mole insofar as popping up again, because there have been many things that I thought would be the end of that clown, right? But no matter how hard we whacked that UFO grifter in our game of whack-a-mole, and let's be clear, those depositions getting published was a huge whack, right? This man spent 8 years lying to everyone, spent 8 years collecting money hand over fist, made millions of dollars selling fairy tales about the secret space program. Then he suffers a tremendous whack from us here at Truthseekers. And by the way, let's be clear, some people want to rewrite history. Yes, the one deposition, the third one, was released on a public website, but the complete set no one had until we released those. Just pointing that out. So what a tremendous whack in our game of UFO grifter whack-a-mole to prove to the public that this man is a complete and total liar. In those depositions, in his own words, he admits he made it all up, because he admits, I've never been to space, I've never been to the moon, I've never been to Mars. Essentially admitting that Corey Good has been defrauding the public, in my opinion, allegedly, for over 8 years, collecting millions of dollars in monetized video views, in conference speaking appearances, in courses he was selling, and then under oath admits it's all fake, essentially. What a tremendous whack that was. Oh, that felt, I can't lie, felt good. Felt good. Felt good bringing people 100% evidence that we were right in our assessment the entire time. And not to belabor a point, but Jimmy Church helped sell that garbage. Jimmy Church helped sell the lie while we were here helping to expose it the entire time. We were here helping to expose Corey Good's lie the entire time. And while we were doing that, Jimmy Church was helping Corey Good sell the lie the entire time. Occasionally, somebody will say something stupid to me, like, well, there's no real difference between what you and Jimmy Church do. Yeah, there is. That's the difference. Corey Good is the perfect example of the difference between the Fade to Bull show and Truthseekers. While Truthseekers was here helping to expose the lies and the fraud of Corey Good, Jimmy Church was helping him sell the lies. Quite a difference. But back to Corey Good, he is the champion of UFO grifter whack-a-mole. Because what a tremendous whack. What a tremendous whack to publish those depositions to give people the proof in this man's own words that he made up large portions of his story or sections of his story, whatever you want to, whatever way you want to interpret that. Those depositions was a tremendous whack. Oh, it was a tremendous whack, right? And in my naivete, I thought, there's no way he's recovering from this one. Good luck explaining that one to your cult-like stupid followers. But he did. Oh, I said, essentially, Corey Good is saying that he lied under oath to protect his intellectual property, right? Yeah, I don't understand how that works. But shortly after those depositions, Corey Good, champion of UFO grifter whack-a-mole, popped back up. And he's right back on YouTube telling people fake alien stories, right? Right back on YouTube with new fantastical fairy tales. It's just like I said, friends, it's UFO grifter whack-a-mole. We whack them down and they pop back up with all new fantastical fairy tales. Doesn't matter that we whacked their lies down once before. And oh, what an incredible amount of lies to be caught in. 8 years worth of lies that we've caught Corey Good in. Didn't matter, because this is UFO grifter whack-a-mole. That's what we do here. We whack them down and they just pop back up. New fantastical fairy tales at the ready to sell stupid people. Now, I'm going to do these two together. We're short on time. We're going to run a little bit over. I allotted 2 hours for this. I'm kind of surprised that we're doing this good explaining all of this. Jeremy Corbell and George Knapp. What a tremendous game of whack-a-mole this was, because Jeremy Corbell and George Knapp have profited to the tune, I believe, this is my personal belief, I don't have a spreadsheet to prove it, but based on various metrics, I believe that Jeremy Corbell and George Knapp have made millions of dollars selling two, what I believe to be completely fake stories, and what the evidence, if you look at all of it, actually suggests are two completely fake stories, and that is Skinwalker Ranch and Bob Lazar. These two made millions and millions of dollars selling these two stories as true stories. And interestingly, Stephen Greenstreet, not me, caught that George Knapp wrote an entire book about Skinwalker Ranch. And in the book, he claimed that, in that book, he claimed that the book was based on all of the evidence that they had amassed over the years. However, when push came to shove and he was on Joe Rogan, he was asked, what proof is there? And George Knapp was forced to admit on the Joe Rogan, the biggest podcast in the universe, that he had no evidence. Yeah, I would think that that's kind of a problem when you say in your book that the book is based on all the evidence that you've amassed over the years. Then you have to admit that you just have no evidence. By the way, I forgot, we do want to award Corey Good, an award for being the UFO Grifter Whack-a-Mole champion. And here he is accepting his award. Trademarked. So interestingly, in a game of whack-a-mole, we have not focused on the lies that Jeremy Corbell and George Knapp have pushed about Skinwalker Ranch, although the evidence would suggest that they sold stories that they claimed they had all kinds of evidence on. Remember, Jeremy Corbell's documentary is based on George Knapp's book, which claims they had all this evidence, but then he has to admit there is no evidence, right? So, not to race over the Skinwalker Ranch issue, but I think that's enough to explain it. These two made millions of dollars selling Skinwalker Ranch lies, absolute lies. And I got to tell you that some of the stories were so ridiculous. I don't know how anybody would believe them. But it is what it is. These guys essentially get caught claiming that the stories are true. They have all this evidence. Then on Joe Rogan, well, there's no evidence. There's no like physical evidence. There's no like evidence. If you want evidence, well, you said in your book that the book was based on all this evidence. There's no evidence, friends. There's just no evidence of it. I am just blown away by their ability to make millions of dollars claiming they have all this evidence, and then it gets revealed that they have no evidence. That's a pretty big whack, right? But remember, it's UFO grifter whack-a-mole, so they just pop right back up with new fake stories to sell. And most recently, of course, would be Bob Lazar. But George Knapp and Jeremy Corbell have been selling the Bob Lazar lie. George Knapp for 30 years, Corbell for many years, right? And again, the evidence would seem to suggest that the Bob Lazar story is fake. Now, I know many of you want to believe the story. I sure wanted to believe the story myself. I grew up with the story, and the story confirmed things for me that I wanted to believe. But at the end of the day, the story is fake. And we know the story is fake because people always call Bob Lazar a former government scientist. There's no evidence that he was a scientist. In fact, all the evidence seems to suggest that he is a fraud, fake scientist. He's not a real scientist. And there is no evidence that he actually worked for the government, despite the claims of Corbell and Knapp and many, many others. Unfortunately, Bob Lazar is a convicted pimp fake scientist. Further, the evidence would suggest that Bob Lazar never took a Janet airline flight or flew in or out of Area 51. His entire story falls apart. And one of the parts of UFO grifter whack-a-mole that is incredibly frustrating to me is this. When we whack them, they won't address the evidence, right? So we have spent a considerable amount of time bringing you an overwhelming mountain of evidence that Bob Lazar is a fraud and that the people selling him are only giving you a portion, a very small portion of the story. It is the lie by omission. It is the lie by omission that helps them sell their fake story of Bob Lazar. And I have spent years bringing you stories, little bits, bit by bit by bit, that prove that Bob Lazar is a complete and total fraud. If you were the person who was telling people for 30 years the story is true and made millions of dollars off of it, wouldn't you address the evidence that people are putting forward that Bob Lazar is a fraud? George Knapp won't do that. Jeremy Corbell won't do that. They have a new podcast now. Don't you think maybe they should address the overwhelming mountain of evidence that Bob Lazar is a fraud? And, I love how Jeremy Corbell is suddenly a UFO expert. This man has been, I think that he is a trust fund kid whose parents have too much money and he hasn't had a real job most of his life. Oh, I'm an artist. No, I'm a yoga instructor. No, I'm a quantum jujitsu instructor. He made up his own form of jujitsu. Great. And by the way, before he was a UFO expert, let's not forget Mr. Yoga.
I've never done warrior yoga before, so we're going to go check it out. Hi. Hi.
I'm Jeremy. Nice to meet you.
Nice to meet you too, Jeremy. So tell me, what is warrior yoga?
Warrior yoga is a method or a methodology of the study of yoga based upon the concept of the martial way. I began studying yoga when I was 9 years old. I studied jiu-jitsu at the same time, and I found that the practice of yoga helped me to become a better competitor at first and allowed me to relax my mind and my body and get me kind of more able to practice the martial arts. And then after time, yoga became a focus for all of my students and my martial arts schools around the U.S. And now everybody uses it for competition and also just for basic classes. The response has been, overwhelming in every area of life and every kind of person. And, it's just something I guess you'll have to try for yourself.
I think so. So where do people go to learn more information?
You can go to warrioryoga.org, or you can, try the class right now. See how that is.
Well, I'm here for that. Let's do it.
Let's do it. You always got to flex first thing in warrior yoga.
Okay, I can do it.
So a former yoga instructor, former artist, superintendent of buildings that his mommy and daddy own, is suddenly a UFO expert and an expert on Bob Lazar. And by the way, the only person ever to be given access to Bob Lazar's family. Did he bother to ask Bob Lazar's mommy if she went to his MIT and Caltech graduation ceremonies? Did he bother to ask Bob Lazar's sister if she went to those MIT and Caltech? Of course not. That did not make it into the film. You know what else didn't make it into the film? The overwhelming mountain of evidence that we have presented here that Bob Lazar is a fraud. And these two clowns, Jeremy Corbell and George Knapp, pushed the lie that an FBI raid had something to do with flying saucer fuel. We busted that. We talked to the sheriff. We talked to the FBI agents. Had nothing to do with that. They lied to sell a documentary. Will they address that on their monetized podcast? Monetize your curiosity? Of course not. But it's whack-a-mole, right? We whack them and they just pop right back up. And after presenting over time, I have to freely admit that it took us a great deal of time every once in a while to do a Bob Lazar story. There was the story of Bob Lazar's former supervisors all saying he was never a scientist at Los Alamos. They lied, right? There was the story of the former Area 51 security guard that we brought forward with the help of Victor, a great researcher, that Bob Lazar never flew in or out of Area 51. That was an on-the-record real source. We don't have anonymous sources here like they do. Oh, we've got lots of anonymous sources that confirm Bob's telling the truth. Great. Well, we have on-the-record sources, not fake imaginary sources, not anonymous, real sources on the record anybody else can talk to that say Bob Lazar's a liar. Doesn't matter because it's UFO grifter whack-a-mole. Get caught, just pop back up and sell more completely and totally fake stories. More completely and totally fake stories like pyramid spaceships, right? We whacked that mole on that one too. He still popped right back up after selling a completely and totally fake story about pyramid spaceships on Navy ships. The clown pops right back up with more stories, fake stories.
My question is, when there are unsubstantiated claims or manufactured claims of UAPs or kind of false information that's put out there.
I have seen the logs. I have seen the videos. We have attempted shoot downs of UAPs on a regular basis. We're talking as recently as last Friday.
My question is, when there are unsubstantiated claims or manufactured claims of UAPs or kind of false information that's put out there.
I have seen the logs. I have seen the videos. We have attempted shoot downs of UAPs on a regular basis. We're talking
completely and totally fake story, and no one from the government would confirm that that was true. Whack! But don't worry, because he popped right back up, right? Popped right back up. And when he's not licking Bob Lazar's butthole, he's got new completely and totally fake stories to sell you. Every time he pops back up, friends.
I love licking Bob Lazar's butthole. It's my favorite butthole to lick.
Amazing. Amazing. But the grift, my friends, the grift goes on. And I was looking for some other of our material here, of some of my favorite of George Knapp's fake stories, right? Like, of course, the wolf. This is one of my favorites. Comes to us courtesy of Stephen Greenstreet of the New York Post.
She saw this standing on two legs, a wolf creature, a wolf standing in her yard, its paws crossed like this, leaning on a tree, staring back at her.
And let's not forget the dogmen, friends, again coming to us courtesy of Stephen Greenstreet of the New York Post.
Come down this dirt road one night and they see two figures, humanoid-looking figures standing up with their backs to the road and looked like they were smoking cigarettes. They had trench coats on, smoking cigarettes, standing out on the road. These guys figure, what are these fellas up to? So they're pulling up and they go shining their lights on the guys, and they turn around and they were dogs.
Oh, the smoking dogs from his book. Awesome. Now, not to continue to repeat myself, I apologize. I couldn't find these bumpers when we were talking about George Knapp selling completely and totally fake stories. Remember that besides the Bob Lazar lie that he made millions off of, he likely made millions pushing the Skinwalker Ranch lies. But when pressed about evidence, remember, Stephen Greenstreet caught him dead to rights. This wasn't my whack. It was Stephen Greenstreet's whack, but it was quite a whack. But don't worry. After this whack, George Knapp just popped right back up with a new monetized podcast and all new incredible fairy tales to sell you, even though he got caught selling a whole book full of lies, apparently.
But no evidence of any kind to back up any of these stories has ever been presented. George Knapp, who's built an entire career around stories of UFOs and the paranormal, and who was one of the authors of the Hunt for the Skinwalker book, was asked about evidence on the Joe Rogan show.
Because they weren't there with cameras. Is there any evidence? Like for the first 20 months when the rancher is there, they don't have any evidence because he's not a paranormal investigator.
At this point, Knapp begins telling more stories about UFOs on and near the ranch. Rogan then interrupts and asks again.
Is there any evidence? No, not really.
Oh.
If you're looking for physical evidence and solid proof, and they don't have it.
Oh. Knapp saying there's no proof or evidence is quite strange, considering the book Knapp co-authored says this: we obtained an intriguing body of physical evidence to support many of the accounts described in the book. Okay, so where is that intriguing body of physical evidence?
The evidence that he claimed he had does not exist. And George Knapp is now caught red-handed selling an entire book full of stories that have no evidence. Oh. And that, my friends, is how this game of UFO grifter whack-a-mole works. They get whacked for selling the fake stories. And unfortunately, they go right on selling new fake stories, right? New, provably fake stories. This is UFO grifter whack-a-mole. This is how it works. This is what I have been experiencing. This has been my life. We whack the UFO grifter moles for taking money from people for provably fake stories, and they simply pop back up, right? Some of them go away for a little while. It's called the Cosmic Con Shuffle. If you get caught really bad and you're really embarrassed, most of these people have no shame. But if you get caught really bad or really good, depending on your point of view, you go away for a little while. Then you just come back, pop back up, and have new fantastical fairy tales to sell people. Knapp and Corbell have been caught multiple times selling provably fake stories. Doesn't affect them. They just pop back up with new provably fake stories, in my opinion. And the grift goes on, my friends. The grift never ends. In this game of UFO grifter whack-a-mole, we need to remember that just like the game of whack-a-mole, they just pop back up. No matter how many times you bop these UFO grifters in the game of UFO grifter whack-a-mole, they're always going to pop back up, most of them, because the grift goes on. These people are no more going to grow a set of morals suddenly and stop scamming people with provably fake stories than any, in my opinion, criminal would suddenly see the light and stop doing that which they do. It is the nature of the beast that we are dealing with here. And let us know and understand that this is a fruitless endeavor. Certainly, some people may think that we provide a valuable community service, right? But then we face obstacles like we get our videos demonetized while the grifter scammer squad is fully monetized. We have to scream from the rooftops just to get people to see or listen to the evidence. When the grifter squad gets what was Corey Goods and David Wilcox's latest live stream numbers. And by the way, I'm not complaining. I'm just stating a fact. We're happy for the following and the audience of smart people that we have here. We have a smart audience. But the grifters, do a live stream, 10,000 live viewers, $8,000, $12,000, $20,000 in super chats, one broadcast. We've seen these things, right? Don't even thank the people that are sending the super chats. By the way, I just saw one. We'll get to those in a moment here on our show. We face a tremendous obstacle. We face a tremendous amount of hardship here. What an arduous journey that we have undertaken. And while I am thankful for the support and encouragement, it feels like a fruitless endeavor. How many more times are we going to whack these moles before they're no longer welcome to come here and sell their garbage? It appears there's no end. The grift goes on. They're still getting booked at UFO conferences. They're still making tens of thousands of dollars in speaking fees. They're still making tens of thousands, if not hundreds of thousands of dollars in monetized YouTube views. And they're still selling their books and their documentaries and, get caught completely and totally fake garbage. Just come out with new products. Hope people forgot about the last batch of fake Fantasyland nonsense that these people claim are true stories. No, it is a fruitless endeavor. And this, my friends, is where we find ourselves. Do we continue to play whack-a-mole every time they pop up with more fake nonsense? Or do we move on and do something more meaningful with our time, our energy, our passion, our creativity, and our artistic excellence? Time will tell. But I, for one, am feeling beaten up and battered and like, how many more hurdles are we going to have to find a way? Just find a way and jump over that hurdle, because we got to keep doing this, because this is important. But is it? If I were to disappear tomorrow, the game of UFO whack-a-mole would continue without me. Maybe someone else would step up to be the guy wielding the whack hammer on the grifters. And let me be very clear and share credit where credit is due. It's not just me with the whack hammer. There's a lot more people now. And maybe that's the good news in all of this. Because I can remember 20 years ago when there was literally no one that I was aware of that was investigating the claims of the Grift Squad. When there was literally no one that I was aware of fact-checking these grifters. And now it would appear that at least a little bit, the tides have turned. And when these people have their grift knobs turned up to 11, there's someone, either me or someone like me, here to say no. No, you're not going to sell another fake story. You've been caught selling fake stories before. And maybe there are people here to remind the rest of us that these people have been caught multiple times selling multiple fake stories, and that we, as a group, should no longer accept this as acceptable. What if tomorrow nobody tuned in to watch Jimmy Church interview another scammer? He would be gone in a month. He would be gone in a month if everybody just said, nope, Jimmy Church, you've hosted enough scammers. You've made enough money helping scammers sell their lies to all of us. We will bleed you of that which you want most, because this is all an attention-based economy. And if people still give their attention to Jimmy Church after he's been caught helping how many different grifters and scammers sell their lies, if everyone simply said, not going to watch, not going to listen, not going to click on that because you sell garbage, sir. You've helped all of these garbage peddlers sell their garbage. If everyone tomorrow refused to tune in to Linda Moulton Howe, to Gary Nolan and Ross Coulthard, if everyone refused to give Corey Good any more attention, or Anjali any more attention, if people refuse to tune in to Jeremy Corbell and George Knapp's garbage podcast full of garbage and just said, you know what? You guys made millions of dollars selling the Skinwalker lie, and you two made millions of dollars selling the Bob Lazar lie. We're not going to help you make money off of your new lies. In every other area of life, in every other genre, if people burn you multiple times, you turn your back and you say no more. And until the consuming public is willing to stand up as a group, as a whole, and it wouldn't take everyone, just most of us. If almost everyone, or a good percentage, hell, I think even 50% would work. If half the people stood up and said, no, not going to tune in. No, I'm not going to go to this conference. And by the way, it's a free world. It's a free country. You're free to email. And by the way, let me be very clear. I am not endorsing anybody harass, intimidate, threaten, cyberstalk, any of that nonsense. Just that people express their opinions. If someone's booked at a UFO conference and they've sold provably fake stories before multiple times, contact the conference organizers and say, I will not attend your event because you are endorsing this person who's been caught selling garbage multiple times, right? If people refuse to buy courses from so-called spiritual gurus who get caught cheating on their wives and doing all kinds of criminal nonsense behind the scenes, the money would all dry up. And this game this game of UFO grifter whack-a-mole could finally be over for me and those who have been playing it for years now. Now, do I think this is ever going to happen? No. More than likely, maybe we just take a small segment of people that don't want to be sold lies. Maybe we just put a dent in the grift. In a perfect world, this game of UFO grifter whack-a-mole could finally be over. But from what I see from an entire community of people so willing to just forgive and forget. Oh, so what if they made millions selling me garbage before? This news story is really good. Nothing will change until this attention-based economy realizes, or until everyone here realizes that these people live in an attention-based economy. If they can no longer fill seats at UFO conferences, they won't be welcome anymore. They will not be booked. If nobody buys their garbage courses, garbage books, garbage documentaries, they'll dry up. The money will dry up. They'll go sell garbage to someone else. And isn't it interesting that in every other genre, listen, if you were in the Star Trek community and you got caught selling completely and totally fake stories about Star Trek personalities multiple times, you would no longer be welcome in that community to profit. But here, it's just accepted. It's just like, oh, so what? Linda got caught selling another batch of fake alien pictures. Go give her some more super chats. It's incredible. And I truly believe that this whole situation will not change. I used to think that I could change things. How naive of me. I naively thought when I started getting incredibly skeptical and playing the game of UFO grifter whack-a-mole that, I'll do this for like a year and these people will be over. They'll be done. They're not going to be able to sell their garbage anymore after people see this. No effect. Maybe put a tiny dent in their wallet for that month. They just pop up, sell new garbage. But the news is not all bad, friends, because there is some good news. And like I mentioned, the good news is that it would appear that some people are waking up and some people are standing with me and saying, no more. But until more of us are willing to do that, this game of UFO grifter whack-a-mole will continue. And so this will conclude my presentation for tonight, friends. I hope you enjoyed our journey into the game of UFO grifter whack-a-mole. So we want to thank a few people for the super chats. We want to thank Steve Nicholson for a kind and generous $5 super chat. Says, Stephen, how's this? Stephen, how's this for a new game? For now on, every question from me that you get right earns the channel $5. Here's $5 for the other night. Well, okay. Thank you, Steve Nicholson, for your kindness, generosity, and support. I'm a little confused. I don't know how to play this game, but we'll give it an attempt. And we want to thank Arden Paranormal for two things, being a member and for a $5.50 super chat. It says, it's important that the real truth comes out by people like you, Stephen. Well, I thank you for your kindness, generosity, and support of the show. Some people don't want the fairy tales. Some people want more. Some people demand more. And I'm glad that we have an audience that demands more. So I am going to, this is, you know what, we're gonna share the I'm going to share the rest of the super chats a different way. I apologize for going so long without sharing the super chats. Just so everybody's aware, we thank every single super chat and super chatter. We read every single one. We missed one from Anthony Peterson, a kind and generous super sticker for $2. So we want to thank Anthony Peterson for your kindness, generosity, and support. Also, we want to thank My Flock is Everywhere for kind and generous 99 cents. And there was a 99-cent My Flock is Everywhere super sticker on the Phoenix Files music album that we debuted last week that we probably missed because I don't recall thanking that person. So we thank them for their kindness, generosity, and support. Now we're up to date. And we're going to thank one more person here. We have Wendell Lambo for a kind and generous $5 super chat. And now that I'm all caught up, we will put on the screen and read every single one. And but I do apologize to Anthony Peterson. It's way too far back. But hey, Anthony Peterson, longtime show supporter, thank you, sir, for your kindness, generosity, and support. $2 super sticker, always there to lend a hand. Throw a couple bucks in our hat. So that we can continue this journey. And of course, we will check in with the PayPal as well. Thank you, Ardent Paranormal, for the reminder. What is going on here? Okay, 1 second. All right, we got it now. And I'm sure that we're going to have to thank Sweet Caroline or somebody for their kindness, generosity, and support. Oh, actually, yes, we have Sweet Caroline with the kind and generous $20 PayPal pledge. And Sweet Caroline says, great show tonight, Stephen. I appreciate you doing the hard work to speak truth to garbage con artists. If it wasn't for you, I might still believe half of these clowns. You brought me to the light, Stephen. I thank you. Well, see, it is kind and generous comments like that that keep me going here. Thank you, Sweet Caroline, who's the MVP of PayPal pledges. By the way, in the description of the video, you can also, if you don't like the super chats, you can send a PayPal pledge. And especially if you're sending a large one, we prefer you do that. Just add a note and put any note you want me to read. And be sure to give me your PayPal, or excuse me, be sure to give me your chat room user ID. Because a lot of times people will send me a PayPal. It has their real name. I don't think you want me reading that out. But we thank you. Just include your name in the chat and whatever you want me to read, and we will do that. We also want to take a moment to thank you Patreon supporters and you YouTube channel members. And I also want to thank everybody for showing up to this premiere earlier of our new series, What Is It? At least I hope it's going to be a new series. Some of you may recall that I started a new series called Strange Stories and only did 2 and then stopped. I kind of get excited about new ideas and then I lose interest maybe, or I don't have the time to continue it. I want to continue the Strange Stories series because it's supposed to be funny stuff, but I'm having trouble finding something funny to continue that with. I'm sure I'll find some stuff eventually. If there's any funny alien stuff or funny anything really that would make a good strange story, if it's strange and it's funny, and it's a good story, please email it to me at truthseekershow@gmail.com. And also, we want to thank you for joining us for our new series, What Is It? I decided that you can do the third phase of moon thing and put up cool, weird videos that you don't know what it is. But you have to do the work and figure out what it is. What is it? And then inform the audience. So we're going to be doing more things like that when we get strange videos that people say are Bigfoot or aliens or whatever. In this case, the first one was a merman of all things, and we were able to track down the exact television show, episode, and season it was from, and do a point-by-point comparison. And that strange-looking, look like a sea creature merman or like a man-fish hybrid. It was weird. We were able to track it down, and that's how the What Is It series should go. So we have done our due diligence for tonight with this presentation. I will take comments and questions from the live chat. Elise Diavalon says, I deserve the praise. Hey, I'll take it. I will definitely take it, right? Mr. Ian says, Sweet Caroline, good times never seem so good. I've been inclined to believe they never would. Yeah, Sweet Caroline always makes me think of that song. So every time I see her, I have that song running through my head. Sweet Caroline. Yeah. Great song. Yes. Philosophical Zombie says, you mean Aquaman wasn't real? No, turned out to be a television show prop, right? UFO Shane says, you killed it, bro. We got to stop these a-holes. Yeah, and you got to come on the show. I have tomorrow night at 9 p.m. free. DM me on Twitter. Somebody just canceled on me, UFO Shane. So if you would like to come on the show tomorrow night at 9 p.m. and we'll continue our game of UFO Grifter Whack-A-Mole. Maybe we'll just change the Rogues Gallery into other people that are grifters that we want to talk about tomorrow night. You could come and play the game with me. I'm sick of playing this game myself. And by the way, UFO Shane is one of those skeptical voices that I talked about. There are more skeptical voices rising. There are more people standing up to these scammers and grifters. And I, for one, am happy. And by the way, I should say alleged scammers and grifters. And I, for one, am happy to see more skeptical voices, more people fact-checking, more people demanding evidence. Oh, and the final thing I forgot that we wanted to share here. One second. The final thing that I wanted to share that I forgot earlier. See, I always forget. Some show hosts' problem is they don't have enough material because they're lazy slobs. And by the way, I do want to comment on a certain show host that's claiming, that they're being shadow banned constantly and the numbers are down because no, a lot of people's numbers are down because their shows are horrible, right? So I did want to share this because besides our game of UFO Whack-A-Mole, and speaking of skeptical voices, John from the Black Vault has a message for some of these grifters, and some of them we've mentioned tonight. He's got a message for these grifters that are pushing this alien crash retrievals and all of this nonsense and claiming to be in possession of classified information and being in this secret insiders club. Well, John's got a message for you.
In my opinion, all of this type of stuff is bunk. All those social media accounts citing their anonymous sources and my source told me this. Great. Well, now's the time to put up.
Yeah, and he's sharing on his screen that time that we caught Richard Dolan pretending that he was in possession of classified information from the classified version of the UAP report. Everything that Richard Dolan said was leaked to him that day was fake and not in the classified version. Richard Dolan just sold a complete total garbage story, right?
If any of these anonymous people that are helping either YouTubers or social media accounts, it's time to step up. You can do so without telling the public your identity, but go directly to the Senate. If Kirkpatrick does not have access himself or he is lying, then now's the time to either put up or shut up. Because as anybody knows on this channel, I do not care for anonymous sources.
Yeah, and I don't care for them either. Because after all, like James Fox just sold a whole new documentary, and his only new evidence in 25 years was a bunch of anonymous sources.
At all. Because most of the time, it's all bunk anyway and provable. But most of the time when it's not provable per se, it's highly unlikely any of it is true. So the public is hearing BS. They really are.
Yeah, an awful lot of it. There are many, many alien and UFO people that are pushing this lie. I believe it's a lie, that they have secret inside sources or they have access to classified information. No, they don't. They would get arrested if they did. There's a big problem with that garbage, narrative that many of these people are pushing. And I, for one, just want to add my voice to John's and say, yeah, put up or shut up, right? The guy who runs Arrow said there's no credible evidence of non-human intelligence behind UFOs. And all of these clowns are saying that all of these people are showing this guy, alien crash retrievals and where the bodies are and all this. Something is not right here. So put up or shut up. Stop it with the anonymous sources. If you've got evidence, bring it. Otherwise, get the hell out of here and shut the hell up and stop pushing lies.
And I think that that's what we need to ensure is not how we all end up. That people that are making claims out there of leaked classified information and alien tech and people with these outlandish claims. As I said in the beginning of this deep dive, it is important to either put up or shut up. And I really, truly believe we need to get into that mindset that
Yeah,
people
what's the
shouldn't be
odds of that?
afraid.
John is forgetting that these people's income depends on the fake stories that they sell stupid people. So I don't think that's going to change.
To call others out when they aren't taking the care that they can.
And that's John from theblackvault.com. Highly recommend John's work. He's one of the good guys in this, one of the few good guys left. So questions or comments for me, please put them in all capital letters. We'll take a few comments and questions before we bounce out of here. It's been quite a day, quite a week. I want to remind you that we have a leaked phone call from, who is it from? Lou Elizondo and Jeremy Corbell. And we'll be debuting that tomorrow night at 7 p.m. Eastern Time. For those who might have missed last night's broadcast, I mentioned that we're probably going to be cutting back on the amount of live shows that I do. And that is in an effort to get me doing more editing and more produced videos and more pre-recorded videos. Interestingly, if you're going to play the YouTube game, one of the things that you should know is that a 5-minute video can get a few thousand views, and so could a 5-hour-long live stream, right? So we want to try to leverage a little bit of that to make more shorts. A lot of people have asked me for shorts. We're going to try to make some more clipped from the live show, and we want to try to make more fully produced videos like the one that we debuted earlier. I mean, it wasn't incredibly produced, but it was pre-recorded and produced pretty well. I want to spend more time doing some produced videos and a little less time doing these constant live shows every night, especially the very, very long ones. Sometimes that's necessary and we may continue. But I thank people who appreciated the shorts because people have been asking me for them. DJ 808 Audio Viz, what's the update with the Chuck guy? I don't have one yet, but I should have more information on that next week, and we'll be sharing more. It appears that many people are saying that this Chuck person with this incredible UFO video will be releasing it. I've heard that from multiple people, or multiple people have told me they think he's going to release it. We'll see what happens, and we'll go from there. Thank God for the talk button, friends. I talked to a guy who was with Chuck and Logan Paul on that day. And you probably mean UFO watchdog. Yes. Vancouver guy says, you hear BS accidental truth, he said in the dumb film Accidental Truth. He said the video wasn't anything that would change anything. That's interesting. And we want to thank No Bull Truth for two things. Kind and generous $25 super chat, and for being a member, who says, no one can silence you, Stephen. We have your back. You do amazing work for the public. It comes with the chances, but you are not afraid. So thank you. No, I'm not afraid. I'm a little discouraged at times because especially that issue with the monetization of videos. The fact that grifters can be fully monetized selling fake stories and I'm getting demonetized proving to people that the stories are fake, it's very discouraging. But then there's some people like you and all of our kind and generous Patreon supporters and members who make up for that difference. And it warms my heart. Thank you very much for your kindness, generosity, and support. And also, thank you for being a member. That certainly helps. And for those unaware, we have a Patreon that's $1 a month. You get all kinds of extra little goodies, some of my music, some of my writings. You get we do early access, so some of these new produced videos you'll get a day or two or maybe even a week early, depends on how things pan out. You get a monthly show journal and some extra goodies, and that's $1 a month. That's a good way to support the show. Or the channel membership on YouTube is $5 a month, and you get all the Patreon goodies that we upload to those guys. Plus, you get some extra YouTube goodies, a member badge, and some other things. And we appreciate all of you. Shrewsbury, UK, White Orb, UFOs and Music says, Steve, what do you make of the work of Reinero Hernandez? Not incredibly familiar. I mean, I've seen a few things, but I'll put him on my list of people to research. Whenever I hear a name that I'm somewhat familiar with or saw a few things, but I'm not really well versed in, I make a note to educate myself. So I will do that. And thank you for your question. I'm sorry that I don't have more to share with you, but maybe that'll make a good subject for a future show. Vancouver guy, where he is like, I'm not saying I analyzed alien spaceship debris, but I'm not denying it. So take that as an accidental admission. BS. Yeah, there's a lot of games. People are playing a lot of games with what they're saying and what they want to be held accountable for, right? Vancouver guy also says Coulthard doesn't know anything. He has heard the same stories we all heard, just believes them all 200%. Yeah, I believe it, right? And UFO Shane says it's soul killing chasing these a-holes. They can just monetize everything, but of course the truth gets shut down. Yeah, it's very, very discouraging. But I'm going to work real hard at trying not to be discouraged by that. But you got to remember that, like, all I want is a level playing field. I'm not asking for an advantage over the scammers. I'm asking for a level playing field with the scammers. If scammers can make money selling fake stories, I should be able to make money exposing the fake stories. Nobody should be turning off the ads on my shows because we expose the fakery, fraudery, and bull versus them. Nobody's turning off their ads while they're selling the fake stuff. You know, it burns me up because it's just, look, I'm a big boy and life is messy and life is not fair. The world is not a fair place. I get that. But that one issue really, really bothers me. We may do a whole show on it, and I can show you 100 examples. Literally, from our back catalog, I could show you 100 examples of a grifter that we covered exposing their scam, their fraud, their fake story. Our ads got shut off. Their ads are still on the fake story, and the fake story is still up, monetized on YouTube, earning ad revenue. It really burns me up. We're going to move on to other things because, yeah. Eisen is here and says, hey, bro, how are you? I got a new place finally done. Had some help from a friend up north in Michigan. Good to see you're doing well, Truthseekers. New home. Chef's kiss, compliment to that other dump. What? Okay. I need to spend now time on the Twitter, not been on Spaces yet. Yeah, I don't like Spaces because I'm not a phone guy. I listen to some of the Spaces on my desktop. I'm a computer guy, so I prefer to be on a computer. The Spaces, you can't talk unless you're on the phone, and Patty Wilhelm is here, and thank you for being a member. And Patty says, what is happening is censorship. It's rampant in the media, right? I agree. And Alice de Avalon says, you're messing up the 3-letter agencies and agents' agendas. Could be. That's certainly one possibility that I thought of, Alice de Avalon. And we thank you for your kindness and generosity of being a member. We thank all of you guys. Yeah, so any questions or comments for me, please put them in all capital letters. Otherwise, we're going to be bouncing on out of here, right? UFO Shane says they can go peddle crap elsewhere. Yeah, from your mouths to God's ears. Mark Tarana says, if you like Stephen's work, please like, share, and subscribe. Watch another one of his videos even. Everything helps. Yes, it definitely does help. And by the way, I can remind you that besides throwing money at us, one of the best things you could do is to like, comment, subscribe, and share these videos on your social media. It really does help us. And one of the other things that helps us even more, I'm told by a YouTube expert, is if you watch one more show. Now, I know you've just been here for hours, right? And that's a big ask. I'm not saying today, maybe tomorrow while you're on a road trip, maybe while you're cleaning your house or cooking dinner or working or, doing whatever it is you do, put on another show. Because apparently, if the YouTube algorithm sees people come back, if they come to a live show and then they see people come back and watch another one from a previous night, it does something, and the algorithm will turn up the knobs for us, and they will recommend us more. It will do a great deal to help us find more viewers if you simply watch one more, right? And we have a huge catalog, so go into our main channel and click that little magnifying glass and search whatever you want. If you like Bigfoot, we've done Bigfoot shows. If you like, I don't know, demons and exorcism, we've done shows on that. Roswell, we've got an entire huge series on Roswell with all the world's leading experts. We've got you could put anything you want in the search bar. Chances are you might find something that you will enjoy. I would sincerely appreciate it. Watch one more. That's a great way to help the show. And I appreciate those of you. A few people were sending me, somebody sent me like a picture of their TV of them playing like one of the first Truthseeker shows. And they just said, I'm watching one more. Thanks, Stephen. And thank you, because that really, really does help. It's bizarre that helps so much, but I'm told by somebody that I trust that really knows YouTube and the algorithms that is what will make a huge difference for them to crank the knobs up and recommend us to more viewers. And that will certainly help us gain more subscribers. That will certainly help us expand the show. We want to take a moment and go over with the Rumble chat and the Twitch chat. 1 second here. Always like to go over and see what's going on there. We've got Golden Tulip there. Says, I think George Knapp, like Church, like Tucker Carlson, are all CIA disinformation, government paid shill bangers. And I can't say that I disagree with you over there, Golden Tulip. I'm sorry, Golden Tulip. You have to excuse me. I'm visually impaired. It's definitely Golden Tulip. So thank you for being in the Rumble chat, holding it down. Not many chatters in the Rumble chat tonight, but that's okay. And we want to go over to the Twitch chat and thank you, Twitch viewers, for being over there. It really does help. We've got Archaic Revival, Red Brick Investigations 1, Ganja 73. No Alga Ray tonight in the Twitch chat. Must be busy, but we thank you all. And we thank Red Brick Investigations, who says, hey, Stephen, I Twitch subscribed for the 3rd month in a row. Where's Trixie? Well, just for you, friend. We thank you. And by the way, if you have an Amazon Prime account, you get a Twitch account. Well, let's start this over. I hate this because it's confusing. Twitch is owned by Amazon. We are streaming on Twitch. And if you have an Amazon Prime account, they give you, I think it's $5 or something like that a month to give to a Twitch streamer. And it costs you nothing. So if you don't have a Twitch account, go over and make one. It only takes a few minutes. And then go into your Amazon Prime account and link your Amazon Prime account to your Twitch account. Then go back to Twitch, go to the Truthseekers Twitch channel. It's Truthseekers Show. It's twitch.tv/Truthseekers Show. And then you just go down there and hit the subscribe button, and it'll let you subscribe to us on Twitch for free. And Red Brick Investigations has done that 3 times. Once a thank you from Trixie, and we're more than happy to oblige. So we thank you for your kindness, generosity, and support, Red Brick Investigations. And here's Trixie to thank you.
This is Trixie from Truthseekers, thanking you for your generosity. I'm gonna praise the cash so hard, I'm gonna need a fake med bed to bring me back to life.
Thank you, Trixie, and thank you, Red Brick Investigations. So we thank all of you in the Archaic Revival says she's busy here touching my tinky. Algaray is there. And once more, Trixie. I thought Algaray was not over there in the Twitch chat. So thanks to all you people holding down the Twitch chat. It's good to see more people over there in the Twitch dot. And again, visit us on Twitch. It's twitch.tv/Truthseekers Show. We want to thank you people watching on Facebook Live. We want to thank you people watching on Rumble, watching on our Twitter feed or on the Facebook feed. You can go to our Truthseekers website as well, and that is truthseekershow.com. That's the best way to get updated. All the latest audio podcasts and videos are all on our website, truthseekershow.com. The final thing I will remind you is that we've got a whole bunch of incredible merchandise for you now. And that is all available on both Amazon Prime and on Redbubble. For those of you in the United States and Great Britain, I believe, the Amazon store ships to both those locations very, very quickly. You'll get it like the next day or the day after you order it. At least that's what I'm told. And we have all this quality. Look, you can even get a Galactic Insider pillow, an Element $115 pillow. Yeah, we've got all of this merchandise. Avian Lives Matter, Reptilian Lives Matter, just Truthseekers logo pillows. I don't know whose idea the pillows were, but I'm getting some. I'm going to put them here in my studio. Look, we have the Galactic Alliance needs you to give us your money. Truthseekers Show pullover hoodie logo. There's all kinds of fun and exciting Truthseekers products here. We got a Truthseekers logo tank top. You can get a phone case that says you're a professional wackadoo translator with my face on it. UFO Circle Jerkers phone case. Double-handed Circle Jerkers. Avian Lives Matter phone case. Yeah. Interesting. Cosmic Con Shuffler phone case. You can get a David Wilcock P. Bath hoodie, pullover hoodie. And I will say that I have gotten a whole bunch of sample merchandise. I apologize that I'm not wearing one of the shirts for the shows while I'm doing this pitch, hoping you will purchase some. But so far, all of the shirts have been really good that I got. And I got a pullover hoodie. It was good quality. I can stand by these products. If you are in Great Britain or in the United States, click the first link in the description of the video for merchandise, and that will take you to the Amazon store. You'll get it much quicker. If you're someplace else and Amazon won't ship to you, click the second link, the Redbubble store. It's the same good quality merchandise, the same batch of merchandise, but it might take just a little bit longer to get to you. And we apologize for that, but the Redbubble store ships worldwide, so buy some Truthseeker swag and help the show continue our journey. That's another way. Yeah, Mr. Ian says, I've made $2 so far. No, a little more than that. But, listen, we have to offset the cost of this truth tax. We can't get, thousands of dollars in super chats telling people fantastical fairy tales they want to hear. That's part of the truth tax. The other part of the truth tax is our videos getting demonetized when we're not doing anything wrong. Tonight, I said SHIT once through a 3-hour broadcast. If they demonetize this one, I will really go conspiracy crazy, thinking that there's a CIA plot out to stop us from stopping the fake alien information psyop that they got going on or something. Something is not making sense about all of this, right? Noble Truth is here and says, the merch is cool, but you're saying Steve would get more benefit from super chats, and I'd rather send it there. Yeah, cash is always better. Send me your money. I wish I could play. There's an Anthrax. I think it's an Anthrax song. It's called Send Me Your Money, but it's copyrighted. I wish we could use that, but we can't. So, yeah. Buy these things under the table. No, my wife is an accountant. I can't do anything under the table. Everything's on the books. Everything is on the books. We're completely and totally in compliance and legal and all that stuff. Yeah. And I want to thank everybody for joining us earlier tonight at 7 p.m. Tomorrow night, we're doing something similar. We're doing another premiere of that leaked phone call between Lou Elizondo and Jeremy Corbell. It's a comedic parody, but it's funny as hell. So I hope you'll be here with us tomorrow night at tomorrow night at 7 p.m. Eastern time it's a short, I think it's 8 minutes or 6 minutes or something like that. We're going to be doing more of those shorter videos and more in Premiere. Operation Shutdown is here, and thank you for being a member. Says Cash is King. Yes. Yes. Oh, thanks for saying that, Mr. Ian. I appreciate that. Yeah. UFO Shane says I will be there. Well, message me, and we got to figure this out. You want to come on the show, and I'm sick of busting grifters myself, so maybe we'll do that this week. And I do want to mention, we'll be back tomorrow night at 9 p.m. Eastern Standard Time. It may be the last show of the week, but I'm hoping to squeeze one more in. I have to go to the cabin this week. I didn't go last week because I got sick with the stomach virus that my kids had. Again. It's like every 2 weeks they give me something else, but I love them. What are you going to do? Little germ carriers, they go to school, come back with all kinds of stuff. So we'll be back tomorrow night 2 times, once at 7 p.m. for a very short premiere, and once at 9 p.m. for our usual live show. Stephen, do you think John Ramirez's comments prove Fade to Black is a limited hangout? I think there's definitely some kind of 3-letter agency involvement in that clown show, right? How else could he get away with having people literally host GoFundMe scams on his show, literally host PayPal donation scams on his show, or promote these scams on his show? There's never any consequences. And so I wonder, right? Yeah. And Mr. Ian, I sent you the script by the way, I'm mad at Mr. Ian because Mr. Ian sends me 8,000 AI videos and I can't even make sense of some of the shit that he's sending me. Oh, I said it twice in 3 hours. We should still be good friends. I can't even make sense of some of the stuff that Mr. Ian is constantly sending me. I did send you the script for the merchandise bumper, right? And people don't want me to read it. They want you to read it, Mr. Golden Voice. Right? Yes, the script on it. Yeah, do it. I'll edit it tonight, and I will never have to do the pitch again. We could just play a bumper, right? Yeah. Please do that. And by the way, Mr. Ian, I am going to get that which you asked me for and get it sent off to you. I've just been crazy busy and sick and all that stuff. So you do that for me, and I'll do that thing you asked me to do. And yeah. And now everybody's going to wonder what the hell is going on, right? Some kind of nefarious deal to get a voiceover artist. Yeah, we're bartering, whatever works, right? There's things that he can't get over there in the land of, tea and crumpets, right? You've got a king and a queen, dude. That's so weird to me. You live in a country and you have your own king and queen. Well, king right now. The queen passed away. May she rest in peace. Yeah. I know somebody that met her and said that she was the nicest lady. She was like really not what he expected. He expected her to be all hoity-toity and, rich and snobby. And she was really like a regular person. And he was shocked. He was just like expecting, I don't know, expecting, some rich snob, and she was very personable and down to earth and just a regular old lady, regular person. That's pretty interesting. Yeah, I am a lovely guy. Thank you, Mr. Ian. And you're a lovely guy too. Now get that script done. I need it. I need that more than I need more AI nonsense. He's just sending me all kinds of stuff. And by the way, Mr. Ian, I'm getting this, I'm getting another. Everybody's telling me to buy a new computer. I have a friend and he's got a Xeon workstation. It's a little old, but it's 12 core, 2 6-core processors. I'm going to set that up for video editing and AI rendering. So hopefully next week we'll have that here and we'll start working on it. And I got another Xeon workstation over there that keeps flaking out. And, I fix computers for customers, so mine are always like broken and cases off and missing parts. And I have this other workstation, and I have to figure out why it keeps crashing. It keeps getting blue screens of death, and I thought it was the hard drive, so I replaced the hard drive, reinstalled everything, still crashing. So then I said, must be bad RAM. So next I have to replace the RAM. Eventually I'll replace the processors in that thing too. It's got to be something. And it's an older but very, very expensive workstation. And I have another really expensive workstation downstairs that's on the fritz too. Maybe everybody's right. I think I got to buy a new computer. I haven't bought a new computer in so long. I just take stuff from customers or from friends. I do their upgrades, and they go, you can have the old one. And I go, great. It's only 2 years old. Why should I buy a computer? I get, 2 or 3 year old computers. I once got a batch, not long ago, I got a batch of 3-year-old IBM ThinkStation laptops. Why would I ever buy a laptop? I got like 10 IBM ThinkStations from a customer that was just upgrading. I rarely buy a new computer, but I don't have the time to work on the trash that I got laying around here. I might break down. I don't know. We'll think about it. Right. Yeah. All right. So, I don't see if I'm missing. Sherry wishes me and the children a speedy recovery. We've already recovered. That was last week. We'll see what this week brings. I don't know what they're going to bring home this week. Some other. It's been one thing after another. We had the flu for a while, and then they came home with COVID, and everybody here in my house got COVID. And then the latest is they came home with a stomach virus, and everybody in the house, except for my wife, got COVID. Now she says that's because I don't wash my hands enough. I don't know. She's the only one that didn't get sick, Sherry, but thank you for your well wishes. Yeah, I appreciate that. Yes, I could use an RTX A1000. Yes, I could definitely do some damage with that. Yeah, I did spend some time today, Mr. Ian, drooling over the possibilities. And I mean, I have the funds available in the Truthseekers till to get a beast of a computer, but I'm worried that we might need that money for something else, so I'd rather hold off. But I've been holding off forever. I just keep getting by with stuff people give me. Ron from Cosmic Neighbors gave me an old server that's Xeon and very powerful. It would make a great workstation, but I haven't had time at the cabin to put the hard drives in and the video card. Maybe this weekend. Every weekend I say I'm going to do it. Last weekend, I almost loaded it in my car because I have more time at home than I do at the cabin. But we'll see what happens. Yeah, I have a bunch of them. And I gave one to my kid. I gave one to a friend. I gave one to my wife. I have one. And there's still a box of them in there in the closet here. I meant to give one to Spooky, but Spooky's traveling. And I kind of mentioned, hey, I have these things. I should have. And I can always ship one to Spooky, because when you're on a cross-country road trip, you don't want an extra computer. But I was going to tell Spooky, like, just put it in your suitcase in the bottom and forget about it until you get home if you want one. I get a lot of good stuff, right? UFO Shane said, I'd like 3 A1000s. Yeah. RTX A1000. Boy, that'll make you drool if you're a nerd, right? It really will. Those are lovely. Embedded GPU solutions. Yeah. So we have done our due diligence for today, friends, and we are going to bounce on out of here. We want to thank each and every one of you for joining us. We want to thank the man with the golden voice, Mr. Ian. We want to thank Spooky. We want to thank our chat room moderators. We want to thank all of you kind and generous benefactors, you Patreon supporters, you Twitch subscribers, you YouTube channel members, super chatters, PayPal pledgers, and of course, super sticker people, and also super thanks. For those unaware, you can throw a couple bucks in our hat, even if you're watching the replay. Just hit that thanks button, any amount you wish, and we thank each and every one of you. So that's all we got for you, friends. I will be back 2 times tomorrow night. I'll be in the live chat at 7 p.m. for the premiere of this leaked phone call with Jeremy Corbell and Lou Elizondo. I'll be there at 7 p.m. to chat with you in the live chat, but we'll be back tomorrow night. Of course, we'll be back tomorrow night at 9 p.m. Eastern Standard Time. So that's all we got for you, friends. Until next time, my name is Stephen Cambion. Good night, and God bless all of you.
Truthseekers is a viewer-supported show. Wonderful people like you who enjoy this show send pledges in the form of super chats, super stickers, super thanks, PayPal, or Cash App. Instructions for how to help are in the description. You can also join our Patreon, and for as little as $1 a month you can get extra content. Patreon supporters get a backstage pass, early access to all our production videos before they are distributed publicly, Stephen Cambion's music, private writings, a monthly show journal, and more. You can also become a YouTube channel member for $5 a month. A YouTube membership includes all of the Patreon benefits, plus a special members badge, priority reply to video comments, and the live chat, plus a monthly members-only video. We thank you all, kind and generous benefactors, for supporting Truthseekers. Thank you. for your generosity and support. Thanks for being here. This is Truthseekers with your host, Stephen Campion. Please rate, like and comment on our videos or podcasts. If you are listening to an audio podcast, please rate us 5 stars to help us rise in the search rankings. If you are watching on YouTube, please like, comment and subscribe to our channel. If you're listening to an audio podcast, we love and appreciate you listeners, but you are missing the live tapings. All our shows are recorded live with video feed. We'd love you to come be a part of our live broadcasts and tapings for the podcast. Head on over to YouTube, click the search tool, the little magnifying glass, put Truthseekers, one word in the search bar, and hit enter. You'll see a strange and mysterious guy with sunglasses. That means you found the channel. Go there, smash the subscribe button and hit the notification bell to receive up-to-date info on our YouTube channel. We welcome you to be a part of our live taping and our chat group during the live broadcasts. Seek the truth. Speak the truth. This is Truthseekers. Truthseekers.
Can you help me find my way? Can you help me escape this grave? Can you help me? I lost my way. Can you help me escape this grave? Can you help me? Can you help me escape? Get through. Help me, please. I'm begging you. Can you help me make it through? Help me, please. I'm begging you.